What's going on, everybody? What's poppin'? My brain broke there for a second. Holy shit.
Redo.
You know what? I'm not even redoing it. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games.
No, I dabbed! Fuck! All right, let's go.
We are
Yeah,
here with the council. I've returned with the council, the Trio de Janeiro over here, to talk all about Sonic Shadow Generation. So, guys, first of all, how you been? I know we haven't done like this kind of talk in a minute, but it's been it turned into a really busy year, so halfway through it somehow, or even the beginning actually.
Dude, I'm amazing, man. This has been, as a creator for Sonic, I'm sure you all feel the same. It has never been a better time. Genuinely, it has been the most fun to like talk about a game.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's so nice to just like be completely positive about stuff for once.
Yeah.
I feel like for the longest time, like there's always like something, like some kind of like Sonic game would release, and there's like just like one like weird thing with it. Like
Yep.
it was never just like straightforward good.
Yeah.
But, like I feel like this is like one of the first times in a long time where it's just like this is just like on top of Generations already being like an amazing game.
Yeah.
This expansion is just just good.
Yeah.
It's only good.
I think
It's awesome.
it's funny because I think it genuinely is the first time since Generations, like since that game, where like everything is like, okay, we just love this, we're good, you know, and it's cool. I'm sure, obviously, like we're covering and talking about it, but it is very surreal to see like all these big creators out of our circle playing it. Like I saw yesterday, Maximilian was about to stream and play it. I
Yeah.
see, obviously, Moist,
Critical.
you know, even
Dashy game.
Dashy
Yeah.
was on it. Donkey actually made like a nice video about it. Like it's weird. I feel like I'm in a pseudo weird timeline where like, oh shit, the tides are shifting here.
Yeah.
And I really do think that has a lot to do with Shadow, obviously, as a character that people, even people that don't care about Sonic, like Shadow, and we're gonna get into all that. So I figured today what we would do is go over everything Sonic Shadow Gens, talk about, you know, the Sonic Gens portion, changes there, and obviously we'll have a big talk about Shadow Gens, what it means for the future, and all that stuff. And I'm sure we'll reconvene at the end of the year to do like a year roundup of Sonic talk. But for this, we will focus on Sonic Shadow Generation. So I guess let's sort of start with where we were at when this was first announced versus like what happened, you know, how everything changed and how you guys feel now. Because for me, like I remember there was some rumblings of a Gens port. We wanted it. We
Yeah.
kind of expected it. And then they even, you know, then that first trailer happens in February. You see Shadow, you see Black Doom, and you're like, oh shit. But I think we all still thought this was going to be a small thing. And over the months, it's turned into, oh my God, here's Mephiles, here's Metal Overlord, here's all this, here's, you know, Venom powers. It's been crazy. And I think to the launch of it, it's been amazing to see what this thing turned into. What about you guys? How's it been like?
I think this was like one of the smartest decisions that they could have done because like for multiple reasons. One is Sonic Generations is like one of their best games, and it is basically a retrospective of the entire series up until Colors, and at the time that was like the entire thing.
Yeah.
But even now, like I'd say any game past Colors is pretty accessible. But like just having like all of Generations release, kind of in this like new era of Sonic, where we're getting a lot of new fans, like that's smart because that's one of their best games, and it kind of catches people up with like a lot of the kind of Sonic going-ons and like his world. And then on top of that, basically capitalizing on the new movie as well with the Shadow Generations portion, and just having like an insanely crazy and fun and successful marketing campaign leading up to it.
Yeah.
Like whoever thought of this like needs a raise.
It genuinely, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Insane.
It's a unique
so smart.
thing. It's a unique thing where it acts as like an expansion, a sequel, and a new game, like all in one.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like really genius when you think about it.
And it's really funny because when you rewind back, like when we first mentioned, when we heard the rumblings about a Sonic Generations remaster, like I remember collectively, most people were like, really? Like, why? You were right, because like most people were like, people were asking for Sonic
Just play it.
Unleashed, you know what I mean? Like all this
Yeah.
stuff. But then when we got more information, it became like the smartest. It was like Shadow with the fake emerald. It was the smartest play
Yeah.
they could do. Because yeah, it's if you needed an excuse to introduce people to Shadow's backstory, the Time Eater and Generations is like the perfect game to do that.
Yeah.
It was smart. It was a smart play, and in the end, man, it was successful because, like you said, it's not just a really good port. It's also a remaster. It's a new game. It's a lore drop. It's everything it needs to be, just in time for the movie.
And yeah, it's just for me, the fact that they were able to so smoothly integrate it. Like I said, I know some people thought like, oh, this was gonna be a Shadow game, but then they added Sonic Gens to it. But I still think it was always designed with Sonic Gens in mind, because again, even the white space is like the same design type. A lot of the philosophy of it is still there. Like even, Act 1 being 3D, Act 2 being 2D. Like it's a unique thing that can only really exist because of
Right.
Sonic Generations existing. And for me,
Exactly.
like I was always the opposite. I was like, I was shocked that Gens hasn't been ported to console, because like we went the entire PS4 generation without. I was shocked. The entire PS4 generation, no Gens port. Switch. I was like, the fact that Gens isn't on Switch is insane to me. And so the fact that it finally is now makes sense. But we got to get into the meat of the game. Let's start with the easier part, and that's Sonic Generations. So have you all played the Sonic Gens portion of it? You've seen the rewrites and everything?
Yeah.
Yep.
So how did we feel? Because I obviously, on a gameplay note, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Like, yeah, you can get the Chow.
For the most part.
I guess. Yeah, for the most part.
There's a few extra things. Like they're good. They're nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of the rewrites, I feel like that's really the only controversial thing is just like some of the stuff they changed for the like the script, I guess.
How'd you
and,
feel?
like-
You're more of the...
It's not like I didn't think it was like too offensive or anything. I think a lot of people like, here's the thing, like original Generations was like Pontaff, and like we hated them. Like why are we, but now we're like going back and being like, actually like this was better.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a few things that like I guess like were kind of better in the original version, but like
Nothing's ever perfect. I think it's such a funny thing, and I feel like the most of this controversy just comes from Twitter.
Yeah.
Because like it's really
It does.
funny, because like if there was any game where you're gonna mess with the story, it's Generations, because at the end of the day, as a longtime fan, a person who loves Generations, played it on release, even I'm just kind of like, who cares?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Dude,
Like there's barely a story in Generations.
I
Right.
was saying, like, it's like I've played Generations a million times. Unless I was streaming it and I was aware of like that they rewrote it, I would have been like, did they change that? Like I would have like barely noticed, just because that's how insignificant Gen's story is in general.
That's how I was when I was playing it through the first time on stream, because I remember, like, for example, when Amy like hits Knuckles, in my head I'm like, was he supposed to fly through the tree? Like, was that like a Mandela effect? Like I wasn't like sure. So like even I was like, wait, so it's like these changes, the biggest changes in the cutscenes outside of the dialogue, like those little graphical things.
Yeah.
I think overall it's a positive too, because one thing I covered in my review is like, modern Sonic used to be like silent when he would save his friends. Yeah. And it was really awkward. But now they added like dialogue, and it feels so much more natural now. And it's like, I'm honestly wondering if that was originally planned. But either way, it's like when it comes to like changes like that, like I think it was an improvement.
I think overall I would agree with it.
Yeah.
Overall.
I kind of agree.
A few things I do think, like, I did like the slapstick. I liked how Amy like pushed Knuckles into the tree. Like that was funny. Or like how Sonic just like pushes Amy away when he's like trying to talk to Tails. That was funny.
Like stuff like that. Like that's harmless, and I feel like it could definitely be seen as an overcorrection. I'm wondering what the main reason is behind changes like that specifically. But I think it's
the
maybe.
woke
I don't
mob,
know.
buddy.
Yeah, of course.
Sonic is woke, bro.
But yeah, no, I mean it's like stuff like that. Like it's definitely worth talking about and like discussing it. But it's definitely not worth getting angry over.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely not worth getting angry over. Because at the end of the day too, I still remember how things were with Colors Ultimate.
Yeah.
And this remaster could have very easily been a Colors Ultimate situation where they just
Yeah.
handed it off to a third party. They AI upscaled it. They didn't change anything, but they did. They changed everything but the time meter.
Yeah.
I'm punching a wall, but you know, it's whatever.
I was shocked they didn't change the time meter because I was like, you have the opportunity to at least make it less annoying. You
Something,
know?
yeah.
You had the opportunity
Yeah.
to not have the dialogue spam nonstop, and stuff like that. You know, like
that made me laugh though.
Yeah.
That is the most Sega thing to happen. Right?
Is
Like,
it just
has to be.
me or is it worse now? Because I feel like the font on their dialogue things show up like in the middle of the fight. Maybe that was there before and I just forgot, but
I don't know about that, but the part that makes me
remember.
laugh is they also re-recorded the homing shot dialogue, so they
Yes.
willingly put it back in
Yeah.
the fight. And it's like, what the fuck? You made the same mistake twice. Like, some shit never changes, bro.
I
Like,
guess
so.
so.
We really are back to 2011. We're really back.
I was gonna say the only thing for me that was weird about like the rewrite stuff is you can tell some of the cutscenes didn't match the dialogue stuff. You know, there's like the
Oh
viral,
yeah, like the lip flaps.
yeah, the lip flap is like really
They're kind of
bad.
off.
And obviously there's like that really funny clip I posted that like everybody has seen where like Knuckles asks, you know, classic Sonic, like, where's
Yeah.
my eyelid? And classic Sonic does like the belly rub because in the original he says like you look a little round. So it's like little stuff like that that like they didn't necessarily account for or think about, but it's funny. But again, I think this is a really unique situation where because this is Generations, no one really cares about the story in the first place. And they just changed
It's
some
not
stuff.
like Sonic Adventure 2. They're like changing like the most important dialogue,
No,
like the
yeah,
most
exactly.
iconic scenes ever. I don't think Generations has really any like iconic
At all,
scene
none.
or moment really. Like
Nothing.
aside from like just the main gameplay, like none of the cutscenes are like anything too crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think we would actually see like legitimate. It's because I think it is because it's Generations. But like, let's say for example, if this was like Unleashed, for example,
Yeah.
and they re-recorded it,
Oh, God.
and they like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that first one's like, oh God, you know what I mean? Like that, then people might get genuinely upset, and I would kind of understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm actually happy it happened with Generations first because they could hopefully see that feedback where it's like maybe there's somewhere in the middle we could meet in this. But I mean, how would you guys feel like after this game? If you were to hear that they were going to remaster like Adventure 2 Heroes or Unleashed, like would you guys be like, oh man, like I hope they don't like overcorrect on stuff?
I'm kind of like mixed on it because like I want remasters, but I know like in the end a lot of those games are like sacred to Sonic fans. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even any change, even if it's like better, is arguably like, oh man, like this it's like different and like
Yeah.
it's not the same. So like obviously people will get kind of touchy about it, and like I might even get a little bit touchy about it. I don't know. It depends. On what
Yeah.
Depends on what it is.
Because I was gonna say,
Right.
like, I've thought about this. Like, let's say Adventure Remix, right? They have to change stuff because like the way
Yeah,
those cutscenes
they would change
are.
the entire voice cast.
Yeah, they would have changed the
Yeah.
voice cast, and even like some of the cutscenes, like the way they were back then, is they're not gonna translate the way they were now.
Yeah,
You know,
like games
They're
like
not gonna
that.
talk
like,
over each other.
yeah, exactly.
Which,
They
like,
should have
honestly
a
is
mode
kind
for
of a
that.
funny-
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of a plus actually.
But like, yeah, no, like
It
definitely
adds
for
to
like Adventure, like they would definitely have to add to the story. But to bring it
Yeah.
back to I started the tangent. I'm sorry.
No, you're good,
But
you're
to
good.
go back to like Generations though, like what they added though for me, I think they also were kind of smart in what to keep and what not to keep
Right.
in terms of some dialogue, because some dialogue was still the same. They even kept it like Eggman's laugh, for example. His crazy laugh is like 1-to-1 the exact recording
Yeah.
from 2011. So like there's some knowledge here where it's like we probably just can't replicate it. Just bring it back. So,
Yeah.
You know.
I think
Was all of the dialogue re-recorded, even if the line was the same?
I think so. I think they because all the characters are pretty much new voice actors. And I think even Sonic's like
Cream is a new one. Knuckles
Rouge.
was new.
Silver as well.
Rouge.
Silver,
Silver.
Espio. I think now he's Matt.
Charmy.
Yeah.
Charmy's voice-
Espio sounded different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Charmy
Charmy-
sounded like Colleen.
Tail. Yeah, no. That was actually what I said. I was like, that's the only one. I'll be honest, like out of all
Was
of
it-
them,
is it
Charmy's the.
Colleen?
Yeah, it is. You can tell because
Oh, okay.
Charlie. I said
Yeah,
Charlie.
she's
Charmy.
sounds like classic Tails.
It sounds like Tails, and I was like, that's the
Yeah.
only one where I'm like, that one didn't really hit. But like Silver's, I think the same actor from TSR.
Yeah.
So it's like a little different.
Aaron
so it's
Yeager.
Like, I have to get used to it.
That's
Yeah.
that's him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, there's the rewrites. I will say, because I think the only other thing they add to gens is drop dash and the Chow collecting. I wish the Chow collecting did something, like gave you something, because I'm unless I'm wrong, because I haven't gotten them all. I don't think there's really a reward for getting all of them. I think that's just you got a Chow, and they stand on like.
Here's what I think.
Uh-huh.
Here's my crazy.
I know
crackpot
exactly what
theory.
you're thinking.
They're doing something with the Chow, and they have all these models on hand.
Yep.
And they're like, well, you know, like it'd be pretty easy to just like throw them in the game to
Yep.
like find throughout the levels.
I actually
Yeah,
have like a
that's
crazy theory that we could talk about maybe at the end of this video.
Okay,
For everything, so remind me because
I
I want to
will.
go back to that.
I will remind
Yeah.
you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
no,
my theory.
because you know I'm with you on that. That was the only thing I thought. I was like, there's no way they made all these new Chow assets
Just
for like.
just for a collectible.
Yeah, it's like they are definitely using these, but yeah, like you said, we'll talk about it after. In terms of gameplay, did anything feel different to you? I think modern felt the same. I do like the drop dash on classic. I think that actually like that comes to now drop dash has come natural to me, where like I just
Right.
do it.
Yep.
I think the drop dash on modern kind of like screwed me over more than it helped me, because I feel like the boost is the same thing kind of. Like
Yeah.
I guess the drop dash you don't need meter to use it, and like if you don't have boost I guess you can use it. But like sometimes I would like just be holding down the jump button because I'm like really
Yeah.
like
And
into
it
the
starts
jump and it like
spinning.
charges a drop
Yeah.
dash and then I like land and I go flying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, like it kind of messed me up. But with classic Sonic, like it definitely like I really enjoyed the drop dash with him.
yeah.
Some people were wondering this online, and this is not confirmed yet, and I could totally like be lying here, but like I personally, some people said online, I believe them. Like some people said that Classic Sonic might feel a little bit better than how he did.
Maybe.
Maybe like it might be a Mandela effect. I don't know, but like it does feel like Classic Sonic does control a little bit better. It is odd though too. Another thing we didn't talk about, they increased Classic Sonic's quills by a little bit, and it's like the
did they?
funniest change. Like,
I didn't
yeah,
know that.
like they made his quills very slightly bigger, and
Interesting.
it's like I'm wondering why they did that. Is it like to keep his model closer to how it was in Superstars? Like there's a reason why they had to
Right.
do that, so it's interesting. It's an interesting change.
They heard the
It's
cool
so
debates. They heard the cool debates, and they gave in.
Yeah.
They were like,
They gave it
it's
to the
done.
wrong hedgehog.
Yeah, damn it.
They didn't look into which Sonic
Wait,
people were
wait.
complaining about.
No, but
That's so funny though, because I feel like the distinction between like classic and modern is like from a silhouette, because they're the same character, so you have to like make them visually distinct somehow. Like classic Sonic's like the shorter one, he's got like the shorter quills, and then modern is the longer one with the longer quills. But they keep making modern Sonic's quills shorter, and apparently now classic Sonic's quills are getting longer, so they're just like
Yeah.
homogenizing into like the same thing. And I feel like it eventually, like if they keep doing it, it's gonna get like confusing.
We're gonna get
It
one
is.
Sonic.
well, yeah, just
Maybe they're just like working towards like one kind of
The
like in
fuse.
between design or something.
yeah, maybe something like that would be cool. It's weird because I got that review code. I didn't get the freaking the adventure skin,
Skins.
which I don't know
Yeah,
why.
actually, I will say I'm actually happy I didn't get a code now, because now I've learned about
You're
that.
so
that,
lucky,
like,
man.
If I got code, didn't get skins
I
and all
know.
that stuff, so I was able to like use like Terios and like the jam model and like all that stuff. So it
Oh
was,
man, yeah, those models are they're classic Sonic looks so good. He's like so pointy and spiky
yeah,
because he's
yeah,
low
yeah.
poly.
Yeah.
He looks so good. I love it.
No, that
Yeah.
one's hella cute. Yeah, the Terios came with the digital deluxe, thankfully, because I think it's Modern Adventure is the pre-order, and then Jam is like the newsletter, which someone gave me
Yeah,
at least. So
that's
that's fine. But yeah, I mean,
Oh.
that's really Sonic Gens. I don't think any of us have. We've talked about this game a million times in our lifetimes. So I think we can get into the big one, right? Because you play Sonic Gens, you're happy, and then Shadow Generations, right? Which this is basically on the modern engine, the Hedgehog engine. Is it 2? I believe it's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. So Hedgehog engine 2, modern game. I don't know. This is a big one, so I don't know where you want to start. But what did you like before we get into all of it? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, just right away.
I wanna take us both. I want to take us all back to our video at the beginning of this year, where we were like, "What's gonna come this year?" I think all of us were like, "Oh, something with Shadow, something with
Yeah.
Shadow,"
Yeah.
and to see how much is in this game was genuinely a surprise, to the point where I actually think they undersold themselves in the marketing for this. Because I think they even said, I think they were saying, like, I think in the early on interviews they said, oh, it's not going to be as long as Generations. Don't expect to be as long as Generations. But it's like, in some cases, I found myself playing this longer than I did Sonic Generations. Yeah.
There's not as many mini games, but I really, by the end of my run, I was like about 8 hours in.
Yep.
And like, I guess it was because Generation I was rushing through. I guess
Yeah.
because I played it before. I'm not like going to explore everything. Shadow, I was taking my time with it and like exploring white space and everything. And I think I was about like 8 hours into it when I beat it. I was like really taking my time and like looking at the concept art and everything and trying to like explore white space and get all the collectibles. I didn't 100% it yet. I'm working on it still, but yeah, I did what I could, and like it was an 8-hour experience. It was longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, no,
I do want to
And
say
that's
this,
like
by the
that
way.
was me not even replaying any of the levels. I still have to like go back and like I've only played through each level once.
Oh, really?
I need to go back
Okay.
and like
Yeah.
get good at
Collectibles,
everything and,
S
like, get
ranks.
S ranks and everything. Yeah, and the red
And
rings.
I want to say real quick though, like the optimal way to play this for anyone that I guess for some reason hasn't played it yet is like definitely get like the journals, read through them, and every single time any small story piece happens, talk to all the NPCs.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like it is.
Their dialogue resets.
Yeah.
It's so
Every-
great.
Every character has about like 3 lines.
Yeah.
when you can talk to
Each
them.
time.
Sometimes more, I think. Like sometimes it was more, but you'll see it'll loop back.
Yeah.
But like you should talk to every character at least 3 times.
Yeah. I think
And
it'll
get,
have a
like, get
dot,
all their
dot,
new
dot.
dialogue.
Yeah.
I think it does show like a dot
Yeah.
in front of them if they have new dialogue. But yeah, there's some
It's-
interesting like
There is.
conversation.
There's some crazy talks they get into. Which I mean, I think like I couldn't believe this game like story wise. I mean, this is obviously, you know, it's a smaller scale game. It's a more of a personal story, I think, for Shadow, you know, because with Sonic Gent, it's like, let's save the day, let's revisit places, cool, yay. Whereas here, it's like Shadow revisiting his trauma almost.
Fighting his demons.
Yeah, literally fighting his demons. And I don't, like, for me, it's like, I don't even know where to start, but like stuff with, I think even just bringing back Black Doom was such a smart move, you know, just because it's a character that they had a back and forth. It's also his dad in a weird way, you know, his alien father, and recontextualizing Black Doom and bringing it back and having Shadow having to sort of face that he's one with this alien is really like fucked up, especially when he gets the powers. Like they're sick cutscenes, but like you can tell he's like tormented when he's getting those abilities, you know.
It's such an interesting thing though too, because this is I think one of the things where I really commend Sonic Team and Ian Flynn and all those behind the writing, because early on with Shadow 2005, I remember, and even as a kid who played it on release, a lot of people, including myself as a kid, remember being like, this story is goofy as hell. You know, like Shadow's part alien now. Like that's like it's stupid. And I remember people didn't really like that. They thought it was an unnecessary change. But now, and for the longest time, they kind of like did that thing that it did for a lot of titles where they kind of pretended, oh, it never happened, like ignore it. You know what I mean? But now they took it on the chin and they made it into something that is more digestible. You don't have to play the game 10 times to know the truth. You don't need, like, you know what I mean? They did something where it's a story that I think everyone could get behind. And Black Doom, like, originally, like, if you told me Black Doom was coming back, I'd laugh.
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
there's no
when
way.
I saw him in the trailers, I was in disbelief and I screamed. I was like, what the Black Doom?
It doesn't feel
like,
real for sure.
It doesn't feel real, but what they were able to do with it was super cool and made it, they essentially kind of manufactured it, I guess in a better word, into a version of the story that I really like, and they turned it into something that I think a lot of people will really like.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to see. Even just like I didn't think Maria was gonna be in the white space. Like they didn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, they showed in that trailer where he sees her like in the distance. But I didn't think she was gonna be an NPC that you would talk to. It was weird. It was like, and it was almost depressing because like you're talking to a ghost effectively. And And I do like that about
Right,
Shadow's
like you know what's
character.
gonna happen to them,
Yeah.
but you can't tell them.
'Cause-
Such an interesting.
no,
Oh, yeah,
no.
I was gonna say it is such an interesting juxtaposition there, because I know what you guys are talking about in the NPC interaction when things in the world start to get crazy. It's when, and I talk about this in my review. It's so crazy because at this one point, Gerald tells Shadow, "I could tell there's something you want to tell me, but you're not telling me." And he even
Right.
says, like,
Yep.
"I have a feeling I know what's gonna happen, but don't tell me because I don't want to change the future." But he's
Yeah.
like, "I have a feeling I know what's gonna happen." But then right next to him is Maria at the same lines of dialogue is like, "I hope the researchers are doing okay. I want to go home soon. Like, I hope I get to
Yeah.
see you again soon." Like, she, like, so it's a juxtaposition where he knows what's coming and she is completely
innocent.
naive to it.
Yeah.
And you, the player, Sonic team, we're gonna make you go through, like, they're just dragging, they're messing with us the whole time.
Yeah.
They're fucking with us. It's crazy. It's crazy, but I love that. That took balls. That took balls to do that to the player in a Sonic game.
Yeah, no, I was really shocked at how much they doubled down on like how hurt, like we know Shadow obviously with Dark Beginning. I thought Dark Beginnings, like the anime thing, was gonna be like as sad and dark as it gets, you know, but it's really like it's bad here, you know, like you're seeing Shadow losing his mind. You see his like pupils dilate when he's angry. You could see him. Even one thing I really loved about Shadow is right away when he saves Maria, you could tell like he knows right away this is weird. It's not like he gives in and he's like, she's back. Like he's like, okay, this is some space anomaly. I wonder if I can change their fate. Which like that's his first reaction. And stuff like that where you slowly see him like talking, he got a small bit of closure. There's no good time to get closure for something like that, but he gets so much more with her, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning, Shadow's like, no, like it can't be. Like,
Yeah.
I must be seeing things. He puts up like a wall because he knows like if it is real, like it's gonna hurt, like to have to be with them and then have them ripped away again.
Yeah.
Which is like
Actually,
it's super heartbreaking.
There's something interesting about that I didn't really put together until I was writing my review, where I realized he didn't think when he looked across the pond and he saw Marie, he's like, no, that's a dream. I think that's tied to Dark Beginnings because he had those dream sequences,
Right.
and he's like, what the heck was that? And I feel like now he's like, that's another one. Like,
Yeah.
like, that's not real. But I think that was interesting though, because you mentioned like, they didn't really explain that, like they're in the white space, and I think that was such a neat surprise that like, oh, that's not a dream, that's not hallucination, that's really Maria, she's really here, and you can interact with them. Go deal with your go have fun with your trauma. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's another thing too about it is it's like you see sort of that the moment. I mean, like we're just talking about the story at this point. Like when he gets the wings, right, and he's getting like full Doom powered, right? That he has like his Dragon Ball moment, right, where he screams. Because there's not really is there ever been a moment where Shadow screams? I don't recall one. You know, I don't. Not that
like
I
that.
know of. Like not like that. And so to have
So not in SA2, I don't think.
Yen.
In 06.
It's like so it was so cool to have like a you know, a Dragon Ball moment.
Maybe in
with
Sonic
Shadow.
X.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the only one I can think of. maybe.
Exactly. And just to have him like
it's
do
funny.
that yell when he's powered up, and like
Yeah.
that really haunting shot to me where like he's standing on this side with the wings and they're standing on the other side, kind of like scared. I was like, oh man, like it kind of hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you
interesting.
read Gerald's journal, and he like goes into detail about. He's like, you know what? Like Maria says that like a shadow is how you find the way to the light. Like so from now on, like I'll make sure that Shadow isn't like a creature of darkness. Like he's a champion of light and hope.
Yeah.
And like to see basically like what Gerald had done by making like that Faustian deal with the Black Arms affect like his son. Like Shadow is in a way like Gerald's son,
Which he says.
I feel like he just like saw that moment. He's like, oh, like God damn it.
Well, that's how he says it. I think that's why he says it at that moment. You know, he tells him like, I'm sorry I made you like this. You know, farewell, son. Like that was really cool. But I do like even in that moment, like Shadow, it's not like he gives in. Like that's the moment where he tells Maria, like, I'm not giving myself to darkness, like, but I'm gonna use this power to stop this.
It's like two things there. It's interesting because like in that moment, I don't know if this is like my headcanon, but I figured when he was like yelling, it wasn't just like a power up, him powering up. It was him releasing that destructive energy
Yeah.
that was within him.
Yeah.
In a sense. And then after that, saying like, "Don't worry, like I'm not letting that get to me." But also, I want to talk about the overall with this whole thing too. Is to in conjunction with the story, we also have these in-game animations that do such an amazing job. The best we've seen since
Oh,
Sonic
yeah.
Unleashed, where it adds so much to the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Even the beginning cutscene where he's on the arc, the moment I saw them animate his eyelids and not his
Oh, yeah.
eyebrows, I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like,
Yeah.
I'm proud. It's like a child. Like, I'm proud of you. You learned. You did it.
Yeah.
They focused a lot on like cool compositions and like poses.
Yeah.
Especially like the ones that I can think of is like when you get the Black Doom powers. There's like one. It's like towards the beginning where he has like this like cool pose and like he's like very like it's kind of like Dragon Ball Fighters where they kind of like play up to the camera
Yeah.
angle and they like change and warp the model a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
to like look cool in that specific shot. Like they did that, and then like also like the Sonic versus Shadow cutscene where they like cross paths in
yeah.
front of the moon. They're just like superposed and like have like really good expressions and everything. Like it's so nice to see that like they're trying to like pose the characters.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's so cool too because like
Action shots.
you mentioned that the Doom power, one of my favorite Doom powers is when you get Doom Blast. It's really clever how they do it. It's the only one that does it where you're the POV of the Black Arms like monster.
Oh yeah, and he like launches you up and you're like
and you're
the
looking
camera's,
at
like, looking
Shadow.
around.
Yeah, cooking you, cooking you, pushing you and everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
that was awesome. It's like little
It was
things
so
like
cool.
that. Or when there's that moment later on where he's angry, you see him shaking. Like you see like Shadow visibly shaking, the face shaking and everything. Stuff like seeing his pupils dilate. Even
Yeah.
seeing Maria's eyes like glimmer when like he's talking to
He's
like
looking at-
yeah, it's
Right.
Yeah.
so good, dude. They nailed like just camera angles and like you said composition and different but it's so
Expressions.
cool. But also I
Yeah.
don't understand the game dev side is why do they stretch out the cutscene? I don't understand
I don't know.
why they
I have
did.
no idea.
So like they do this thing sometimes where like maybe you in the Black Doom fight at the end you notice this like, where like or even when you get one of the Doom powers it's stretched out a little bit. Like remember in Sonic Frontiers when he fights Giganta the first time he does that dive down.
Yeah, and it's like
he's like
super
stretched.
Yeah.
It does that. Yeah, if you notice it, Chow, it fucks
I gotta
you
go
up.
back and I gotta go
Yeah.
back and see it.
It fucks you up a little bit because it's like he looks a little stretched out. I don't know why they do it. It's weird.
Yeah,
Um.
That's definitely one of the only things I've definitely noticed carried over from Frontiers is like sometimes I think what it is like they'll add like that letterboxing, right, or like a black border over the video, but sometimes maybe somebody on the team like, oh, I got to turn it into a letterbox. So
Yeah.
what they'll do is they'll like
It's
squish it,
distorted.
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
that's not, you know what I mean? So there's some inconsistencies there, but the thing that I genuinely just want to keep in mind too, and this could totally be copium or like maybe overselling the future, but like I look at this almost like a B team game too. This is like a midpoint. This isn't like a full on
Yeah, exactly,
brand new
right.
Sonic game. This is like like kind of like a holdover.
Yeah.
While they're possibly working on like the next big thing. But when it looks this good, when the cutscenes are that animated, when they're dilating his eyes, when they're
Yep.
that makes me so fucking excited for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like I and when Switch 2 coming soon, all that stuff, like the fidelity is gonna be going higher and all this stuff, like man, we're gonna get
I know.
I'm excited. I'm really
with
excited.
you. I'm with you. When I was playing it, I was like, dude, if we're getting this shit with the side game or like even improved, I'm like, I can't imagine like the level of quality, just even in just like how polished it looks, how cinematic it is, how cool it looks in a game like this. I can't imagine the next game like. But I always thought this is where we'd be at in like 2 games, not
Yeah.
like right after Frontiers, especially like. The one thing I adored, and I need this in the next Sonic games, like the mid-level cinematics. Like when you would be, I think of Sunset Heights, right? When you jump off that rail, and then like the giant enemies are
Yeah.
doing their moves. He does the
They're, like,
kick
punching
flip.
you,
Yeah. Or when obviously the Doom world happens, and the world is crumbling, and you're seeing these
That-
different. I think it's so
my God.
cool. Like
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I
so
couldn't
cool.
believe it.
I
The
think it's
visuals
just
were so nice.
Mhm.
they understand now, and I think it was thanks to those Titan boss fights. They understand making Sonic cool not only is really cool,
Yeah.
but it does help sell the game. It does.
100%.
Like people's reactions to it, YouTubers, and like I'll see these people. I'll actually give an example because Dashy Games, you know what I mean? I watched him play the game, and I love Dashy, by the way, no disrespect at all,
Yeah.
but like it is funny. He's one of those people that is the hardcore Sonic fan, and he's not really playing the game how we would. Like he's not really boosting a lot
Yeah.
of stuff, but the whole time he's like, whoa, this game
Yeah.
is fire. Because the game is so visually
They do
appealing.
cool shit.
But
It
it's
has
also like there
spectacle.
is actual gameplay stuff there, but like
Yep.
yeah, it's cool shit. So even people that maybe don't quite understand or not quite understand the gameplay as much, even they could be like, oh wow, Sonic is doing some really cool shit right now.
Yeah.
Like I respect it.
It's because the levels themselves feel exciting. When you play cyberspace levels, you're not excited. Like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
They're great. They're fun. But I think maybe besides like the one highway one, I never played a cyberspace level where I was like, holy shit. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas like here, you know, with Space Colony Arc, I'm like, holy shit. With what they do with Sunset Heights, unbelievable. Holy shit. Kingdom Valley is so open, right? It feels amazing. You know, it's there's so much spectacle. Radical Highway, like that stage is crazy. There's like a bajillion branching paths and everything. I can't believe it's a Sonic level. And it's just like that mix of them. It's weird. It's funny. The second half of the game, you could tell it's not like you could tell they want to stretch out the game because it starts like two sets of levels, and then it becomes like Chaos Island and then Radical Highway. Like it like does one boss, then one boss. And they stopped doing the it's weird. Some levels have the Doom thing, some don't, which I think was a smart move because that way some levels are just sort of you play the level. But it was weird like going to Kingdom Valley and not, because I was looking forward to it. When I got to Kingdom Valley, I'm like, oh, what's gonna be like the Doom power shift here? So to not have it, I was like, oh, I wonder if this was by choice or by budget, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
I actually do want to talk about that real quick, is the level selection. So like we got the Arc, we got Real Canyon, we got Kingdom Valley, we got Sunset Heights, but then we get Chaos Island. And I don't, for me personally, as I talked about in my review, it's like, I really, like the Arc makes sense like that.
Yeah.
Real Canyon, narratively actually makes sense, but they didn't really go into it.
Yeah.
Because I thought, when they said Real Canyon was coming back, I was like, oh, because the Shadow Androids are in the level. They're the pods. They never go into that. It's like, but you know, still a cool level. Kingdom Valley is amazing, great level.
Absolutely,
representation. You love to see it. Sunset Heights was smart. At first, I was
Genius.
like, why? But it's like, it's genius because it's like that level gets time to breathe and we get to actually experience it properly. And I really respect that.
It's a cool
Chaos
setting.
Island, Chaos Island for me is like,
It's like, why is this here?
that one doesn't, but that one doesn't really narratively make sense because it's like Shadow wasn't in Frontier, so the implication is that Shadow will go to, maybe will go.
I think it wasn't that. I think Gerald says that like you can just see pieces of the future here. I didn't necessarily think it was his future, but maybe because he's sharing the white space with Sonic, that even places Sonic has gone
I never
to.
thought about how not only like does Shadow not go to Chaos Island at all in Frontiers, but also Frontiers didn't happen yet. So it is like a glimpse
so
into the
it's
future. I never
I feel
thought
Gerald
like
about
that
says
one-
it.
That's the only
So
one
now
where
it's like
maybe
double. It's like double weird. It's like
yeah,
oh,
that's
well,
the
'cause-
only
yeah.
one where it probably could have used just a little bit more explanation just to buy it. Because
Right.
at the end of the day,
Forces
like, I
didn't happen
understand.
yet.
But Shadow
But he's
wasn't
been there.
and
Got
in
it.
Sunset Heights.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is like I understand why. You know, it's again, it's a B team game, so it's kind of they have to reuse assets, and I respect it. I think that's a bad thing at all. As long as the levels are fire, that's all that
Yeah.
matters, and they work. But I think the thing that is funny when I think about Chaos Island is like, you know, if you use those assets but change the colors a little bit, you could have very easily told me that was Flame Core from Sonic 06, and I don't think anyone would have batted an eye.
Yeah, they could have.
Because it's-
bad.
Yeah, because I think like Rail Canyons, like I'm almost certain those assets like in the background in the desert, it's like that's Ares Island assets, and it's like that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem at all. Like it's
Maybe
a desert.
they didn't
Use
want
it.
206 levels or something.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I
yeah.
think that's
But
what it
it's
is.
But in terms of the selection, like at the end of the day, The levels are fire, and that's what's important. I like that. I'm looking forward to the movie DLC, by the way, because this might answer that aspect of it. But I am a little salty.
It's a separate level. It's It's Tokyo.
It's Tokyo, but the part that I'm a little salty about is like there wasn't really a level for Shadow the Hedgehog, because the arc, the arc is in that game, but that's from SA2. Yeah, right. Radical Highway is technically in the game, but that's from SA2. There's no level from Shadow specifically, and I was hoping, Westopolis. They already made a bunch of city assets anyways. Like, I don't think anyone would care.
You just rearrange it. And
I'm wondering if maybe that movie DLC with the realistic Tokyo, if that they're just gonna play like that's kind of Westopolis, because I think it has Westopolis music. We don't know quite yet.
I don't know. From the trailer, it looks different than Westopolis. I'm with you. Where like, I would have even loved. They could have done this and maybe changed some stuff. I would have loved if Westopolis was like almost 1-to-1. Just as like a fun side thing. What I would have thought is maybe there would have been a moment with where Doom like messes with the environment and you're in Westopolis. Where he like talks about the first encounter with him. But he loves Radical Highway.
But no, hear me out though.
Radical Highway.
I'm still holding out hope that maybe with the movie DLC, I want a bike segment. I want him riding the bike in a level.
It'd be
so funny. Like I just want it. Like it could play like shit as long as it's there.
He has the bike in the art room, which is cool.
Gotta be the next Doom Power.
Yeah. Doom bike.
He just gets a
Doom bike.
Doom bike.
It wouldn't be a stretch. I know what's it called. Venom 3 has like the Venom horse, so anything can happen there. But no, I'm with you. It's like I think for the most part, level selection was great. Again, Chaos Island probably could have not been there, but again, they just had the assets, and it's the same engine too, so it's way easier for them. They're like, let's just do an extra level. And again, Gerald tries to justify it. He says like you can see glimpses of the future. And from what I understand, when you get that encounter with Sonic, we're sharing a white space, right? It's just that he walks towards where Sonic is.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a bit confusing because like from like a gameplay perspective, like it just seems like he just teleports to Sonic Generations and he's like, oh, like I'm here now. Oh, Sonic. Oh. So like that was kind of weird, but like I'm willing to suspend my suspension of disbelief. Like whatever.
Yeah, that cutscene was awesome. That's
like
because I think even Maria says like she saw Sonic.
Yeah,
so, like, they have to be in this area.
Right.
So it is interesting.
What they're implying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's just a weird. It's a weird void. So like, whatever.
Yeah.
Anything can.
Yeah.
Sonic is stuck in like 2D there, so he can't look left and right.
Actually, if you turn the camera like around, like 180 degrees, you can see all of Shadow Generation.
That'd be awesome.
It was there since 2011. None of us really.
You just didn't know it. It's like how the fake Emerald was like. With Sonic the whole time during Generations, you just didn't know.
Yeah, no. I mean, that entire cutscene was awesome. I love Sonic being like, I found you, Shadow, but he doesn't say Faker, and then Shadow says the date to dive. I was like, let's go. Like, this is the type of shit
On the topic of that type of dialogue, man, I know people are like, man, the Ian Flynn stuff. Dude, I love that shit.
I don't care, man.
Continuity meant jack shit for Sonic since the 90s, and like even now still getting those little moments where it's like full on like this is pure fan service. I'm still here for it. I was smiling the whole time.
As someone who doesn't love those just like forced references, it's Sonic Generations. This is the one time that you're actually allowed to do it, and it makes sense. Like it's fun. I thought it was cute.
You can tell they're having fun with that cutscene because like City Escape is playing. There's like a confident moment. He says, it'll be a date to die for, which made me super happy. And it was so cool seeing Sonic and Shadow go at it like in a modern way. Really sad that you couldn't play that, man. Like that, I was waiting for it to like flash to gameplay, right? Even if it was just as simple as like you're boosting into Sonic, hit him a few times. Like I would have loved that so much. But it was such a well done cutscene. I even shout out to Roger Craig Smith. Like I just feel like that I think Roger's in that perfect place now where he has the better voice direction. but the moment wasn't as dark and grim as like a Frontiers moment. So you hear a bit more confident Sonic, right? Where he's just like, sorry, buddy, I beat you this time. I got a day with the Emerald. And like, it's a bit more of that like lower pitched voice that some people weren't used to, but I still think it's confident and it sounds cool.
Yeah. It sounds really good. I really like that. It's so funny though, because now knowing the context of what Shadow's going through, Sonic looks like an asshole in that cutscene.
Dude, Sonic cooked. I was happy. I was like, let's go, bro. You get your bag, buddy. I do like Shadow having his moment where he like represses the Doom power, where he's just like, no.
Yeah,
not gonna
that's
do this.
interesting. That's something to keep in mind. Like he could have totally cooked
He
Sonic.
could have
there,
won.
but he chose
Yeah,
not
he
to.
could
Yeah.
have won.
I need the
Yeah.
power scalers. Where are they? Right? What?
Yeah.
Can Doom powered Shadow beat base Sonic? I actually don't know if he could. Maybe
I'll
he
start
could.
writing my 50
Yeah,
page
please do.
video essay
I
right
need.
now.
I'm waiting for that. Thank you.
I think it's more so just like Sonic doesn't know about it.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
you know,
I think he'd just be
Sonic
caught off
first,
guard.
yeah.
You're like, whoa. Now that entire fight was cool, and even again speaking more on like composition and stuff, I really love. It's a small detail when he does the Chaos Emerald fake out and he shows it. You have Rouge have like her sort of like Aladdin moment, like where she looks at the emerald with, like glowing eyes. I love that. Yeah, that's like a small thing that I really liked. And I really liked Rouge too. Like her dynamic with Shadow was like adorable, especially if you read her dialogue and how she's saying like, yo, like when all this is said and done, I know we're not like the cheesiest group, basically, but like I'll be here for you, you know. And she even acknowledges like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I know
that
I
was
sound
really
like
nice.
Amy. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a confession to make though, and I actually wanted to ask.
Okay.
Did any of you guys see the fake Emerald switch around coming? Because I'm embarrassed to say I did not see that coming.
I did not.
The
I did
fake
not
Emerald.
think of that when
No.
he first picked it up on
I
the
didn't
arc.
think of it.
Yeah.
I was too like caught up in like the crazy cutscene. I'm like, whoa, oh my
Yeah,
god.
because like
It's,
I was
like, animated
rewatching
so
it, and
well.
I'm like, it's so freaking obvious. How
Yeah.
did I not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 4D
It was
chess.
it was so
horrible.
smart though, like the writing.
It was so.
That was smart.
Yeah.
Using like not only like I don't know, that yellow Chaos Emerald from Sonic Adventure 2, like find a way to
Continuity.
like make it useful again.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
also the fact that it's just been like
grab
sitting in
some
the
water.
park for all this time. Shadow goes back and he just finds it. Like yeah, that was awesome. Like super smart.
It's interesting too. It's so funny too, because like he was like I can't. It's hard to tell. Like I have trouble telling the difference between the two. But it's
Yeah.
like I know they were able to do like chaos control with it in SA2. So it's like genuinely, what is the power level of this thing? Like it feels like at the end of the day, it's just another Chaos Emerald that like.
I did almost wonder, like, you know what? Like, what if Sonic did grab the real one and Shadow just had the fake one? Like, you can still use Chaos Control?
Yeah,
with
or
maybe, right?
exactly, or what kind of super form would happen if he had all 6 real ones and then the fake one?
Yeah.
Like what would like
Ooh.
like a
Yeah.
like a
It's basically
like
an
maybe
eighth
that's where we
emerald.
go with Sonic X, like the
'Cause-
Sonic X, the fake emeralds becoming Dark Sonic.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna retrade it later. I was like, oh, I guess that fake emerald is so powerful that he could still go supersonic. But it was like a really good way to tie in. And obviously, speaking of Rouge, yeah, there were some other characters. Okay, I do feel now they were funny.
I know where you're going
I
with
get it, but Warbot and Cubebot and Big the Cat, like,
Oh, okay.
I
Big
feel
the
like
Cat, I will defend.
he
Big the
was
Cat, I'll
funny.
defend.
I think it's funny.
I agree.
I just think it's
But
it's
yeah,
smart.
he was also sweet too. He was really nice. He was like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I talked to Gerald. It sounds like it looks like he has a
Dude.
lot on his mind. I invited him to go fishing. I'm like, can I have you as a friend, bro?
Dude,
Like, you're so nice.
he's like, can I learn chaos control? He randomly lore drops that he's visited Elise. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
also
Went to
now they
Soliana.
canonized his Easter eggs in SA2.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I was
I've
in the
seen
arc.
you
I
in
think
the
I saw
arc."
you guys running by
Yeah.
a few times. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
That's awesome, bro. That shit was so good, man.
Like,
I love
shit,
that.
Like that is funny. You can tell the developers are having fun with
Yeah,
that. Orbot
Yeah.
and Cubot can kiss my ass. Like
I
they
agree.
like,
I agree.
Get them
I
out
hate
of here.
them. I don't have you. Did you guys collect all the bolts?
Yep.
No, but I know that there's nothing. There's no
It's a
it pissed
clock,
me off.
bro.
A
It's a little
clock.
clock, man.
It's a clock,
Yep.
and then that shit pisses me off because it's like the little cuckoo clock. And then I went to the collections room, right, to like read the journal, and I was on stream for hours looking at these ones and zeros, chasing a ghost. And then at the very end, I go to the other side of the room, which I don't know if it was there before the clock, but the cuckoo bird is in the collection room. You walk up and he goes cuckoo, cuckoo. I'm like, I'm turning the stream off. I'm
Yeah.
done. Like it just reminded me that I
It's-
just wasted my time.
I just like. I don't. I mean, again, like obviously, like it's a side thing. I get it, but like
It's a
Orban
little
and
thing with-
Cubot, and why you guys? You know, like the worst is they don't even have dialogue that changed. Like at least give me like some tidbits about Eggman, how your guys'
Yeah, right.
relationship is with him, how you feel about him, like. But just having them there for the collectible, I'm like, I would have just rather an extra character at that point. But it's one of those things of it is what it is. But to circle back to the levels, what was your guys' favorite level? Because we have about 6 with Radical, Chaos, Kingdom, Sunset.
I feel like for me it was Kingdom Valley.
Okay.
Yes,
Really? Wow.
Dude.
I agree. For
It's
some
so
reason that
good.
level, like you would
It's
think
a
like
good
maybe
level,
Radical
man.
Highway it's the most because that really includes like the Doomwing and all that stuff, and that one's really good too.
Mhm.
But something about Kingdom Valley and how they were able to make that level it's the one
part-
level too, again without a Black Doom segment like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's so interesting too, just how fun it is to play, but also the multiple paths and using Doom Blast like to break through different
Yeah.
windows.
Mhm.
That was
I
super
really
fun.
like that Easter egg.
That had the
really-
best use of the Doom Blast, the launcher,
Yeah.
and also the way at the end where it seamlessly transitions to the Mach Speed section with like
Yeah.
the water walls.
Yeah.
Like it just seamlessly transitions to the other part of the level.
Because you have to use
It's
the
just
chaos
like,
control
oh my
thing.
God.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
dude, yeah, Sunset. I feel like each of them stand out. For me, Sunset Heights stood out a lot because it felt like the most cinematic, right? Just because you have the environment of Sunset Heights, which is already really fucking cool. Then you have
Explosions going off in the
Yeah.
background and like the
Yeah.
robots.
It's
doing
crazy.
Stuff.
That
Yeah.
it's like the
Them
crazy
actually
the robots
trying to hurt you.
Yeah, the Doom
Sunset
moment.
Heights.
Mhm.
Sunset Heights actually has one of a really interesting shortcut where, and on stream, I remember when I found this out, like my reaction was just like, oh my god, like that was the coolest shit. Was you could go onto a top path.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing up there, I'm like, how do you get up there? And while the guy is throwing all this rubble at you, and then it hit me, I was like,
Oh, you use the
chaos
rocks.
you-
Yeah.
yeah, you chaos control, then you
Go
homing
up.
attack those up
Mhm.
there. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is the coolest idea they've
Yeah.
had
What?
in years.
It's genius. Like chaos control, I genuinely think is a genius ability in the game.
It's so cool.
It's
I love that it
genius.
stops the in-game timer.
Yes,
I
it's
saw
Yeah,
some
so
people
good.
on
Yeah.
Twitter being like, "Oh man, it's like it ruins like the gameplay and like the speed running."
No,
but
it's
it's
awesome.
but it's like immersive because like it
Yeah.
truly stops time.
It
It
makes.
truly stops time.
I think it makes speedruns more fun because because you can change shit. So like you can be in chaos control, and then if you hit a bunch of enemies in chaos control,
get
when
it again.
when it's done, the meter refills up, and then you
Right,
can
you
do it
just
again.
have to incorporate it into the speedrun.
Yeah,
like everyone
it's-
has it, so like it's not
exactly.
unfair or anything.
No,
like,
it's-
everyone has it.
I think it's such a genius mechanic because, like you said, like it freezes time. You can jump on platforms you wouldn't think you're supposed to jump on. Again, you can still kill enemies because normally you would think your idea is to speed through, but no, you want to fight as many enemies as possible to fill up your chaos control meter. You know?
Yeah, and the speedrunning for this game, by the way, look insane.
Awesome,
I don't even
yeah.
like compared
some
to like
crazy tech.
Frontiers, like I'm feel intimidated. 'Cause it's like I think you have to like spam the chaos
Yeah.
sphere and like you could get
Right,
like
it
crazy
keeps
airtime,
you
and I'm
kind
like,
of up.
yeah,
Yeah.
even I'm looking at that, I'm like,
All right, guys. When
I can't do that.
when is Sonic Team gonna be like, we did this on purpose and name it? Come on. We know you guys are
Yeah.
gonna do it. We know you guys are gonna do it.
The homing dash.
Yeah, but that that has been like the saving grace technique for I've been speedrunning the levels, and yeah, like I'll boost, spam the chaos spheres because it basically keeps your momentum going. So like
Right.
there's like this crazy moment in Kingdom Valley where you go on a win thing, there's a ring you go to, you spam the chaos spheres, you continue to fly over, you boost, then you spam more, and then you're on top of a building instead of inside where you're fighting those enemies, and then you could just like jump boost to where like the ring is in the sky. To it's crazy. Like some of the speedruns are crazy, and I genuinely like I encourage people this time around, go on YouTube, like see a video of someone speedrunning, and even though you're not going to be able to recreate it one-to-one, you could at least see like, oh, I can do this, and you'll be able to at least do something cool.
Experiment with it.
Yeah, and I haven't felt this like much fun experimenting with speedrunning Sonic in a long time. I think having that online
This
mode,
Generations for
Yeah.
me.
it's
which
like
is ironically enough
so good,
it's part
dude.
of Generations.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've only played through each level like I think only once. And I got like a bunch of the collectibles. I still need to like go back and get S ranks on everything and like replay stuff and get better times and just speed run. I definitely want to learn the speed running routes and everything like I did with Generations, because that game is also really fun. So I got like basically 2 games that I can like speed run with. So I'm excited.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see the speedrun tactics they have. It's so fun too. It's like, man, what would that name be? I don't know if they gave it the community gave it a name. We'll call it the Doom Dash.
The Doom
We'll call it the Doom Dash.
Yeah.
The spear speed.
The spear speed, yeah, something like that. But no, it's really cool, and I think the fun part just goes to show how well designed these levels are. Because it's in the end of the day, replayability is really important for Sonic, and these are levels I feel like I could replay a lot. Like I didn't really feel that a whole lot with the Frontier Cyberspace outside of like 1-2, only because the difficulty.
Right, and that was
that's
like
another
the
thing.
outlier.
Yeah, that's the other thing I do want to say too. I do hope Sonic Team will continue to make challenging time requirements. I feel like that's when the levels are the most fun. I even noticed YouTubers respect that. Even people that are casuals, they really like it when it's hard to get an S rank.
I still think the S ranks are too easy, man. Like I just think
I do too.
Besides the
they're a
hard
bit
mode
too
ones,
easy as well.
it's like
I think for one of the things, and just to go back to Space Generations for just a second, I think that was something they should have changed, is just the difficulty for S ranks.
I agree.
Because there's no lives anymore, which I think is a good change.
Yeah.
I like that, because you can just continuously, like, if you want to, if you're trying to speedrun, you pause and you press retry a lot. Because it's like, oh, like I messed up, let me like retry that. And if you have 0 lives, you have to like die and then get a game over to refresh your lives so you can retry again, or you have to like exit. So like, cool, no lives. I think it's a good change, but like, you don't need to get an S rank to progress.
no.
Yeah.
So like, making the ranking more difficult does not progress, like, or it doesn't affect like any kind of like casual run through at all.
I know.
Like at all. You can still get like E ranks or like the worst rank, and you can still progress.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know why like they had to make it so easy. That's something they should have rebalanced.
Yeah, they have it in them. So S ranking Radical Highway is tough. Like actually, you know, like that one, I genuinely have to play super
right, because
well.
it's like the last level. So they're like, we'll make this one hard.
It's like just make that universal. Like I'd rather, because then, dude, the ranking system I genuinely think is what puts Sonic above like a lot of platformers in different ways. Because like it's a big incentive to want to go back to the level and be like, wait, I want that extra score. You know, because I was talking about this recently, like 2 platformers that came out within the last year that I really love is like Mario Wonder and like Astrobot. My biggest flaw with those games, like I play them and I have nothing to do. You know,
and then
that's it.
done.
Whereas here, like, you have the S ranks, you have S ranks for Doom Wings you can get, you have leaderboards for every level with Doom Wings with them. It's like it feels like there's some reason for me to go back to these like super cool levels you made. And that's what I've always appreciated about Sonic in general. But it's like, I feel like just the S rank thing is still an issue that I hope they because it's like you said, it's weird. They like do it randomly. Like it'll be like, oh, 1-2, right? Or Radical Highway, or even some of the ones in Final Horizon, right? I'm like, you guys have it in you, and it's like you said, Chow. It's like the game doesn't force you to get a rank to progress. So just make it harder just for the sake of replay value.
Yeah. And I know, again, that's the big thing that YouTubers really like. Moist Critical, like that's what he's like. Oh man, I want to get an S rank, but sometimes they'll be like, I got an S rank for that. Like I suck.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, I was shocked because correct me if I'm wrong. In Sonic Gens, if you die once, you don't get an S rank.
You're locked out.
You're locked out.
Right, you're locked
Here
out.
You're not. Here you're not. I died in Shadow Gens level, and I got like an S rank. I was like, oh. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed that because I was resetting every time I died. I had to reset the whole stage, and then at one point I just kept going. I was like, screw
you don't even need to do
that.
that.
I was like, wait,
you just still get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
that's crazy.
It's I do also gotta give a shout out. We're talking about the stage and stuff. The 2D levels, man. Like what a crazy thing to happen to them. It genuinely made me realize like, oh, my problem isn't 2D levels in 3D Sonic games. I think it's just that they weren't great. Like these are genuinely fun. They're fun. There's different routings. You can use the Doom powers. There's
Kingdom
3D
Valley
camera.
in 2D.
Kingdom Valley is crazy.
It feels very Sonic Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I didn't even know how to explain. Like, my favorite was the Sunset Heights 2D level because it has dynamic 3D camera. Like there's a moment where you're on rails and then it goes 3D when you're going down the cave. It does the loops.
Yeah.
Is that the one
into
with a
cave.
bunch of Doom Surf?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
You're like kind of like in the underground and you're
Yes.
Doom surfing.
Yeah.
That one is pretty fun.
That one's
It is
so
funny too
good.
because you have 2D, but there's also like the foreground 2D
Yeah.
and the background
Yeah,
2D.
exactly.
And then there's a whole different area I actually didn't know until recently, and I think you actually posted a video about it recently. Was like the
A
upper area
top
of that
path, yeah.
section.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could go up there. I really like how
It's
they were
crazy.
designed. It's like, yeah, I realized like I don't have a problem with 2D. It's just how they were handled
Mm-hmm.
so far was like made them not very fun. But these were
The
fun.
controls
I
are
really-
always weird or lesser. Like, you know, like when you, especially in Frontiers, I think the 2D levels, his controls are just not good. You know, it's
Yeah.
weird because
Yeah.
they, I don't know what they do. Like they strip down his physics a bit and it's like really awkward. And they slow him down. Whereas here, like it felt like you were going fast, felt like there was a good pace to them. It was just really great. Of course, I would love if it was all 3D, you know, but if they are from
Yeah.
now on having 2D and it's like this, I'm like, this is what I want. Like this is
Yeah,
modern
I
2D
agree.
Sonic at its core. You know, where you're incorporating boosting with abilities. And it generally felt like they were being clever. Like even in Space Colony Arc, where you're using the spears to like open the gates. There's also different paths.
Oh,
like-
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that part.
On the topic
So
of the
good.
comparison to Frontiers, it's so funny too because like the puzzle or the in-game the white space like challenges are more fun than any puzzle Frontiers had, and they're exactly how I wanted the puzzles in Frontiers to be handled because all of them, every single one of them, are time based.
Yep.
Like when you're collecting rings, you have to do it within a certain time, or when you have to collect the timer, especially in the hard mode of the
dude,
world.
the timer
one
is
of them is
brutal.
actually
It's
yeah,
brutal.
like hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's actually fun, and it's like that. For now on for open zone gameplay, having in-world challenges or puzzles that are tied
Yeah.
to speed or tied to moving. That's what I want. Don't make me sit
Mm-hmm.
there pressing a button for lasers like this type of puzzles.
Right.
So much better. So much.
They're all
better.
tied to the environment and like the physics and everything and speed, and that's
Yep.
that's how
Yeah.
they should be. That's how you should
Yeah.
handle puzzles.
It was a
in Sonic, I
perfect
think.
balance too of like platforming challenges with puzzles because like in Frontiers it was either like Dumb Baby where like literally you're L1 R1 or Final Horizon where it's like, oh bro, you want me to run across the entire island to do this
Yeah.
challenge? This is stupid. But it's like they genuinely felt well crafted and they really made you like optimize, which is really cool and keeping it speed focused. Now obviously with Shadow Gens you don't really have a combat set. Like in Frontiers you have combat. Here it's not really combat. You're just kind of using your spears and hitting some enemies. So there's no, I think there's barely any enemies in the open zone really. The
You're just
white
used for
space.
platforming, really.
Yeah. And it's like the white space for me, yeah, like I said, I loved it. I thought it was really clever. It's smaller than you think. Like you can go from point A to point B fairly quickly. But it's like you said, it felt like everything felt well crafted in it. It felt like everything had an intended design of how you should solve it. Whether it was like ring challenges, whether it was break the balloon challenges, stuff like that. Just felt like a really natural environment. And it got rid of a worry I had because I remember recently there was that rumor / leak about like Frontiers 2 being one big island. And I remember being like, that feels weird going back from 5. But I was like, if it's gonna be a mega island and it's like this where more stuff becomes available as you get more abilities, I'm like, I'm down for that. You know, I am down for like one crazy
Almost
location.
like a Metroidvania in a way, where you like,
Yeah.
get certain mobility
100%.
that will let you access different areas, and that's cool. I always wanted
It's
Sonic to kind of explore that genre,
Yeah.
even just a little bit.
on the topic of like the whole Frontiers 2 One Island thing where we were like, oh, it's gonna be like that. There was one line of dialogue from Gerald where he was talking about actually I think it was in the journal where he was talking about Angel Island. He's like, yeah, it was cool and it had multiple biomes, and I'm like, you know, yeah, it does have multiple biomes because there's so many levels tied to Angel Island,
Yep.
like in the classic games. That would make a great
Yep.
setting for like a Frontier
Yep.
sequel.
Well, because
like, I'm hoping. Like,
well, because that's what the rumor leak was, that it was gonna take place on sky floating islands, which
Huh.
Frontiers.
yeah, there's this recent rumor leak or whatever that Frontiers 2 is gonna be like one big island, floating islands
Oh, the
in the
second
sky.
one?
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
down for them just going to Angel Island and
Yeah.
Just that
kind
line
of like
from
Fleshing.
reimagining like certain
Yeah.
biomes. That'd be
Mhm.
awesome.
But yeah, just that line from Gerald when he said that, I was like,
Yeah.
like, really? Oh, you don't
Yeah,
say.
Really, huh?
I think the two most detailed, like cool plot lines in all of Sonic, like one, Project Shadow,
yeah.
super cool.
Yep.
Two, Echidna Tribe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we want to like kind of go back to like kind of this more expansive, like overarching lore that we can like flesh out more, I do think maybe like going into the future, maybe we could do something with the Echidna Tribe and Angel Island and have it like open zone. I
Yeah.
think Angel Island. I never really thought about that until you kind of like put it that way, Sam. That like it's just this one big island with like different biomes, and that's like the perfect kind of like
Yep.
recipe for like
Yeah.
an open zone
The-
area.
like the
Yep,
ultimate,
yep.
yeah, or an adventure of some kind with multiple playable characters. But you know, I
like where your head's at.
maybe with Chow. But no, it was just so funny though. Just you know, there is something I really want to talk about. I don't know if this is maybe spoiler territory, so like maybe spoiler warning.
We've been, I think
up
that's
to you.
long
Is it-
done. Yeah, no, we've been.
Is it long done?
Okay.
Okay, just want to make sure. Was the so I okay? I'm still a little confused on this. So Black Doom came back, and I think the interpretation is he came back from the larva that was still on the
in
ark
Dark Beginnings.
in Dark Beginning, but they never really because he came back before the Time Eater.
Yeah.
So he was already back,
Yeah.
and then the Time Eater happened. He's like, "Oh, this is perfect. I'm gonna accelerate my plans." I think the thing I'm wondering now is like, okay, he killed Black Doom again. Who's to say he can't just come back again?
Yeah.
He didn't, like, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. Is like,
So
is it
wait,
over?
Where does this like larva thing come from? Because I'm doing like a big video on like the Gerald Journal,
Yeah.
and I've been like browsing online and like threads and Reddit and all these other places, and like I saw that a few times, but I couldn't find like where it says that in the game.
It
So-
doesn't. That's the thing. I don't know if it ever says it. Do,
Well,
you know?
Well, you're talking about the larva that
So the way that Black Doom, from what
Comes
I've
back.
seen online, some people say like Black Doom revives
Mhm.
because there's some kind of like Black Arms larva in the space colony
Yeah,
arc
well,
that
yeah,
he
yeah.
uses to like regenerate.
It's in
Where,
Dark
How do
Beginnings.
we know that? It's in Dark Beginnings in
Right.
like the flashback though, right?
But I
yeah,
think
flashback.
it's
but
not
because if you look at the post-credit scene of Dark Beginnings, you see that like he's like all wired up and like being made there.
I thought that was
Oh.
I thought that was
was
just
wired.
him like being there.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he
didn't.
was
I didn't know that.
So-
That's the thing where it's like that's literally the only part of the story where I'm like, I still don't quite get like how exactly did he come back? Like I
So
believe.
my
Like,
interpretation is that Time Eater is like around.
Yeah.
He's not just like here. He's like around and he's like doing stuff before generations.
already messing
right?
stuff up. Yeah.
And he like brings because I'm pretty sure like Black Doom mentions like a time anomaly, and that's like the reason
Yeah.
he's there. I don't know if it's because of the larva thing in the space colony arc. I think someone
know.
maybe just said that and people are running with it.
yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
hard. 'cause-
find anything
Yeah.
about that in the game, and I can see maybe some people maybe interpreting that part of the Dark Beginnings meaning that.
Yeah.
But also, like I didn't interpret it that way, and I feel like there's stronger evidence to suggest Black Doom is back because of the time anomaly, just like
That-
Gerald and Maria.
See, but
that
because
would
here's
make
the thing.
more sense.
In-
Right.
At the end of Shadow the Hedgehog, when you kill Black Doom, they're a hive mind. All of them just die.
yeah.
Yeah.
With the Black Comet. Once the Black Comet explodes, all of them just die. So
Yeah.
that would mean even the one like on the space colony, like it dies.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
see.
don't
I didn't see it
understand
like
where
that.
that
I just saw like he destroyed the hive mind planet. But maybe I don't know. It
Yeah,
I-
I don't
'cause
know.
originally-
it's one of those things.
yeah. Originally, I just thought, oh, because Time Eater is bringing things back, Black Doom is back. You know, and then he was just
Yeah.
doing
That's
more
what
on his
I-
own.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's a bit of a miss. But see, my thing is though, like maybe Black Doom could be back, but I feel like that wouldn't make sense because one, Shadow's now tethered his bond with him. Right, he doesn't have access to the Doom powers, from what I understand, unless I'm wrong. I understood it
no, I
as
think you're right.
him defeating him is like, because even Shadow says it, right? Like he says when he's saying goodbye to Maria, like, I will dissolve this like power, right? But I will use it for now. And so, then even when he defeats Devil Doom, he just says like, I am Shadow, I will choose my own destiny. And like, it seems like he's done. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would want Black Doom to come back, even though he's really cool.
Yeah,
and I think they have a good
I
back
personally
and
would
forth.
be like, yeah, at that point, it's like this was a cool callback, but like,
Yeah.
coming back a third time, I'd be like a
overdo it,
little
right.
like little overdoing
Yeah.
it. But that is the only part of the story where it's like, I guess it's mainly up for interpretation on like how exactly that happened.
Well, right. I
Um,
think Black Doom works because it's been 20 years.
Exactly.
It's been like
Yeah,
20
yeah.
years. So, like seeing like a cool villain from 20 years ago, like yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of villains, what did you guys think of the bosses? Because like these fights were fun. BioLizard was fun, different too. It's like the first part was like
They really put
Destiny 2.
like a nice twist on it.
I was gonna
and
say
all
I
the
got
bosses
that.
were super cool.
Yeah, so
Like,
it's
bringing
weird
back
going
Neo
from
Metal
Frontiers.
Sonic. Neo Metal Sonic like is fucking
Oh
badass.
yeah, Metal
like, holy
Overlord is
shit.
crazy. Like,
Or, yeah, Metal
Netflix-
Overlord. Like, bro,
Yeah.
they brought
The
back like,
dialogue,
some of the coolest villains.
Dude, man, I really think, I wish they had resisted and didn't show us Mephiles before. I really think
Yeah.
that would have been
Yes.
everyone's crazy pop off, right? If we went, because it's so incredibly well set up. Like, you go to this creepy cave,
Right,
right?
it's different
music,
than everything
right?
else.
Yeah.
It's like different music. Like it's in like this underground area where everything else is like above ground.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
secluded.
it's
It's
just like-
weird.
They did the exact same thing. They did the exact same thing they did with the original generations, where they kind of showed us everything gonna be in
Yeah.
it before release. But I absolutely agree with that, because like the surprise, because you could I feel like how it was designed was it was supposed to be a surprise, because you go
Yeah.
in and you hear the creepy music, but it's like like the way they made the music was like it's in a direct like that's Mephiles. It's like
yeah.
those instrumentals remind me of something. What does that
Well,
remind
yeah.
me? It's very
Even the
smartly
goop,
designed.
right? The goop looks
Yeah, the
like
goop.
the Mephiles
Yeah.
goop.
Yeah.
And so if you're a fan, you're like, you would be like, there's no way, right? We just did Kingdom Valley, and there's
Yeah.
no way. And so when they do it, I was like, oh fuck, like this is awesome, man. Like this is. In general, like obviously, if it was a surprise, I would have lost my shit. But the fight itself is still so cool, right? Because you're
so cool.
you're getting cinematics, you're kicking his ass, you're getting midway transitions where he's teleporting, you're beating him up. It's crazy.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
I genuinely
he gets
do.
really desperate. He's like, dude, I
Is
just
it-
want to live.
I just want to
Yeah, no,
exist.
I want to exist.
Yeah, but it's funny though too, because in the beginning of the fight, this is what's crazy. He pretty much breaks the fourth wall. He goes, "I'm gonna restore myself to the
Yep.
timeline." Like he knows
awesome.
he was wiped from the timeline.
Right.
It's almost like he's talking to the developers, like
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And then, but then after, it's like he just like I want to exist,
Yeah.
and Shadow's just like no,
Dude.
just like.
Dude, Shad, what's awesome is Shad doesn't even know him, you know?
Right, he's
Yeah.
like, bro, I don't
He
even know
tells
you."
him something raw at the end of that fight. He's just like, you don't exist and you're gone forever now. Something like that. Where I was like, he's so cool, bro.
He didn't even kill him either. He
He's
sealed
that
him
guy.
in the thing,
Yeah.
in the scepter for all of eternity. So
Yeah.
like he's not even dead. Like I genuinely feel bad.
I wonder if they're gonna find some way, you know, because he's in the scepter, because of what happened in this moment with Black Dude. If there's some way that scepter can be like sealed somewhere and he still technically exists, but I don't know.
wonder, right, if they can basically bring Mephiles back in a future Sonic game, kind of
Mm-hmm.
similar to how they found some kind of way to bring Black Doom
Yep.
that made sense.
I would love
And
That
that.
would be pretty cool, 'cause-
Imagine a multiverse Sonic game where it's like a Sonic game with different multiple universes of Sonic. So it's like you have your
Yeah.
Sonic 06 Sonic, you got your in-universe Sonic, you got, you know what I mean?
Be
I
crazy.
don't know. It's just like there's things they could do in the future
Yeah.
possibly with that.
I was gonna say in terms of bosses too, yeah, like I liked how, so with Frontiers, when I think of like the boss from Frontiers here, it's very different, right? Because I think Frontiers prioritizes spectacle, right? The Titan fights are spectacles. I still don't think there is a moment that hit me like Giganta for the first time. I still think that is magic. I think all the Titan fights, to be honest, are magic, except like the the base ending Supreme, because it's just
Right.
they're crazy, you know. But here I did like that they were more actual boss fights, because in Frontiers, look, it's just parry, hit, parry, hit,
Right,
hit. It's
the
more about the
actual
moment.
fights themselves are kind of
Yeah.
like, you know,
Whereas,
pretty basic.
whereas here there's like a challenge. There's like cool midway
Right.
transitions with the boss fight. Like they're well thought out. They're intricate. I like Shadow having a back and forth with a lot of the character boss fights, which
Yeah.
is really cool. Like Metal Overlord talking shit, you know, through the fight.
That, that dialogue is so funny because
Yeah.
like Omega earlier in the levels, like I recommend you attack him directly because keep in mind Metal Overlord can do chaos control.
Yep.
Like Omega wards you,
Yeah.
and then you try to do it in the
And
fight.
he's like, I can do that
and
too,
then
bitch.
he's like, I can do it
Like,
too.
cancels it
Like,
out.
you still get cooked, but it's really funny. Like the whole time, he just thinks he's the hottest shit.
Yeah.
It's the funniest joke with Metal Sonic and Heroes. He just thinks he's so fucking cool, but he looks disgusting.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. And obviously, the final boss. I mean, Neo was a Devil Doom, and then you get to Neo
Devil Doom.
Really fucking
Yeah.
sick fight, dude. I think that I will say is probably up there with one of the most cinematic fights in the game
Yeah.
because it's not just like it's the camera angle, it's the way that you're doing crazy platforming. It transitions to like midway transitions, makes you use all your powers. Like it is awesome, and of course you get to the end with All Hail Shadow orchestrated.
Yeah, oh, it's so cool. I've always been a really big fan of boss fights that are almost like mini levels.
Yes.
Where like there's platforming and like you kind of have to like go through it like obstacles to like get to them and then like
Yeah.
hit them.
Yeah.
So like they handle that really good. I'm like a big fan of that type
Yeah.
of boss fight.
I actually want to commend them on they did a huge improvement since Frontiers is boss telegraphing. And
Yes.
like Frontiers, the boss
Oh.
telegraphing without mincing words was ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you had to play it multiple times to understand it. But like now they're introducing like the I think it's like in the Souls games where the eyes will flash like Metal Sonic, and same with Devil Doom. You'll see like an eye flash
Yeah,
to
yeah.
know.
We're
Dodge.
gonna do some kind of
I
attack.
like that they you could tell there was an effort there. And I
Or
really
even like
that.
when Biolizard's putting his arms down, like the little circle that like
There's
rises
a
up.
right
Yeah.
the circle.
I'm with you on that. The telegraphing's better. I think what's really cool, especially on hard mode, the bosses are more difficult, but learning them is crazy fun because you start to see like, okay, if you perfect Metal Overlord, you can entirely skip the part where he tail swipes
Yeah.
you. If you hit
That's
enough
awesome.
debris and get the rails and everything, it's awesome.
I gotta do hard mode.
You
stuff
did, you
still. I'm
gotta.
so
Oh,
excited.
dude,
It's gonna be so
that
good.
was
It's
that was
awesome.
new that brought the bosses to a new level because I think with the Biolizard fight on hard mode, you're in the SA2 phase of the fight a little bit longer.
Yeah,
Right. If I'm
and
not
he's
mistaken.
faster.
And the energy balls he shoots out of his mouth
Or
are
bigger,
big.
yeah.
So like you have to like really dodge them. It's part of me almost wishes like the way those are in hard mode was the base versions of
Yeah.
them because it would have been even harder. But like
Yeah.
I really like the hard mode versions of the bosses.
I love that
And
they
getting
bothered to change stuff for hard mode.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm like one of the weird people, masochists, that actually enjoyed and loved how brutal Final Horizons was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it was me beating my head against like
I'm with
Wyvern
you.
for
It's
like
awesome.
an hour and a half. But,
Yeah.
but like man, like when I beat that boss, like I felt like a god. Like I could do anything. I could like
Yeah.
go into oncoming traffic and just like take it
I
on.
could
the
see
chin, like-
everything. I
Yeah.
can perfect carry anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could perfect parry in real life. I could perfect parry on my truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into that because I've yet to touch really too much of hard mode. I tried that. I think I tried one level out and it like kicked my ass. I'm like, ooh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So strength
yeah, I
in
gotta-
hard mode is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they did a good job on the S strengths, and yeah, like even the Devil Doom, I love obviously the final cinematic with all the giant Doom spear, the Doom spears you're tossing at him. The classic, like the Eldritch being going through him, and you see like the guts spewing. I was like, this is so cool, bro.
Dude, the explosion at the end made me laugh so hard because it is such a. It looks almost green screen.
It does.
But it almost feels intentional where they're like, how do you end Shadow's campaign? A giant explosion. Of
Explosion
course.
that he doesn't look at. Yeah.
it's awesome, man. And I was gonna say too, like it was just so well done, even with the Doom Wings, how you're just flying through, because that's the only time where you can move anywhere with the Doom Wings, because typically the Doom Wings are one direction, but in that final boss fight you can go like up, down, left, right with them. Were you happy that it was All Hail Shadow, or would you have rather a new orchestrated thing? Or
I was secretly hoping for Kellen Quinn.
me too.
I
Me
was like
too.
secretly hoping. I'm like, it probably won't happen, but like, what if it did?
Yeah.
I would have lost my
It
shit
is-
if that
Yeah.
happened.
it is interesting because it feels like because even with Metal Sonic, those songs are the most unchanged. It makes up the instrumentals a little bit. All Hail Shadow's like orchestral, so like that one's like the instrumentals are all different there. But like like it is. I guess they didn't want to go get too many like new vocal stuff for this one. But what did you guys think of the music overall? Because I thought the music is amazing. I had only one nitpick, and this is only because I'm like a Heroes diehard fan. Was like the Bullet Station remix was like, in my opinion, I was like, it feels a little lacking. I could barely
hear it, to be honest.
All I really have to like complain about is like, dude, Chaos Island is like ass. It's so freaking bad. It's so bad. I hated it. I hated it.
It's one of those things where parts of it, for me personally, parts of it sound really good. Same with
but then it gets into like the weird dubstep, like
the song. You're talking about the song. Oh yeah, I hate the song.
Not the level. The level is cool. I'm talking about.
I thought you were talking about the level. Yeah. No, the song is bad.
The song for Chaos Island is ass.
I think what it is the fact that the instrumentals being used for the dubstep parts are like the most generic sound for like when you imagine dubstep,
that's what you make fun of.
It's the sounds they use. Yeah,
because it's like I thought it was really beautiful. Like the main part of it is like dun 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 dun. It takes like
even when it's really pretty up, and then and then they try to like have it go like hard. And then it's just like the worst, most generic like stuck in 2010s dubstep.
Because there's a part of it where it speeds up, right? Where it's like da na 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 na, and like that's really cool. Good. But it's like then it just it feels like for no reason, like wow 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 wow. I'm like no, it doesn't work. But for the most part, I thought the music was great in the game throughout. You know, I think Sunset Heights
like
remix
most of the
stood out so much to me.
I thought Kingdom Valley. Kingdom Valley had a good remix.
Kingdom Valley. Yeah. The arc, honestly, the arc
is so good.
One, like that is like, and I think the person who made that one, did a remix with Junsune Live for Westopolis.
He did,
I'm hoping to God, like that person that did that remix. Have him cook. He did an amazing job.
They did amazing. I think for me, like Sunset Heights is the banger. Like that's the one I keep listening to. I thought that remix was unbelievable.
That was a good one too.
Yeah.
I need to go back. I need to go back and listen to the soundtrack by itself. Maybe today I gotta do some work on a video. Maybe I'll put on the soundtrack.
There you go.
And give it a bit more of a listen.
Yeah, there's some really great tracks.
Just from like the one kind of go around of each level I've done, like everything was like pretty good in general.
They did a good job, man.
I really wanted a Kellen Quinn song.
I know, dude. I am with you. I was waiting. It's cool. Again, this is the first time I think Crush 40 has been a final boss theme since, I'm not even kidding, maybe Black Knight.
Yeah. I can't be mad at that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm with you. I would have loved. Do you imagine All Hail Shadow, Kellen Quinn? Would have been crazy.
Oh my god,
that would have been it. That would have been the.
I just think the metalcore screamo like it would have fit Shadow pretty well. Like man, it would have fit perfectly.
There's one moment in that remix that I really love, or that orchestra version, where like it's like sort of the angelic part of the song where it's like dun 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 dun, and it really elevates the track a lot. So really good stuff there. And I think so. We talked about White States, talked about story, talked about Open Zone and everything. What did you guys think about the fucking gut wrenching ending, bro? Like, that fucked me up.
So look, and maybe this might be unbelievable because I also did cry at the end of the update 3 for Frontiers.
Yeah,
but I was just crying because I was like, they're having fun. This one, I never really cry that easily. I'll be honest, but like that one genuinely tear here, both eyes, by the way. It got me because and I think it was also part of that Dark Beginnings animation. I just feel for Shadow. I feel for Shadow.
It sucks,
like,
man.
Now like beforehand we're always just like, dude, why, how do you still not know who you are and you're so conflicted? But like now I get it. Now it's like after you see everything, you read the journal and like you see like even he was like willing to like, I think what made me start crying as a big time fan was him being like, I'll use chaos control. I'll stop this moment in time. He was willing.
He's in denial. He's like, I'm going to save you.
He knows he was willing to stop.
But
he was willing to stop time
Yeah.
for them indefinitely
I'll use
just
cast
to not
control.
get separated.
Yeah, I'll use
Yeah.
cast control. We can be here. And she's like, no, you have to go save your friends. And
Yeah.
dude, just the head hold she does on him, you know, it's heartbreaking. And like,
Yeah.
it's so sad that he can't even stay until they fully fade away. Like he had to run away. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like halfway
It was
through
the-
them fading, he
the
just runs
emotions.
away. Yeah.
That's the thing I like was like, and details too that I talked about with Evan Mardiculous
Mm.
was just before too, like we mentioned with Rouge, she's like, if you need
Oh
me,
yes.
I'll be there.
Yep.
And I really like the detail at the end where when he passes her and she notices like, oh, he's crying.
the
She like
tear.
speeds up
Yeah.
to catch up. Like I like that. I
The
really
tear
think that's
made
how
me
it
sad,
ends. And it's like,
dude. Why
but
did
it,
he
but it
cry?
goes to show like at the end,
Yeah.
the conclusion is like he has his friends. He
Yeah.
has his current group. They'll be there for him. And I really like Rouge and Omega just being
Yeah.
there, like in the animation. I love them as a team.
Also,
man. I
so
love them.
fucking funny that
I-
like he went from crying to like standing at the time meter, being like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, get up, buddy! Like, you just had the shittiest day of your life."
No, I still like the original. You got this.
Yeah, you
Sonic.
got this.
Yeah. Come a long way.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I thought it was really cool how they handled the scene of him crying, where he does it like kind of off screen, like
Yes.
turned away from the camera, but you see the tear,
Yeah.
and like it's such a good way to do it because I feel like Shadow is like too proud to show his emotions, so he,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but like you still get to like see it kind of like off screen, and
Yeah.
I think that's like very powerful. And man, I feel like there's a scene in Sonic X like that where Sonic like runs away and you see like a tear or something.
It is, yeah.
Maybe
The
I'm-
ending with Chris.
Right.
Yeah, I think it
I
was when
think
Chris
so.
was leaving. It was
Yeah.
Tears of Joy, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
another moment I teared up. It really was the smile, like Shadow's smiling for the first time.
At Maria.
That fucked me up. It really did.
Actually, hold on. No, I talked about this in my review.
Uh-huh.
That I have a problem with that interpretation. That is not the first time. In the first time he smiles in the game is when he sees Big the cat.
You're right. That
He
is
smiles
true. That
in
is
the
true. That's
first
smile.
scene. So that's
That
the
is
second
that is the
time
second
he
smile. That is true. You know, but he does the teeth smile when he sees Big the cat.
But yeah, no, it's
like
a
the
full on.
smirk.
I'm fucking with
Where's
it.
it?
It's a full on group.
Yeah, the
Right.
Maria one when he holds her like I will do what you wish for. I will make sure we live in a world people are happy, like, you know, and keep you in my heart. And he smiles. It's like the most genuine smile ever.
But it also,
So I remember seeing someone kind of talk and bring this up. Like there's like a character sheet of Shadow, and it's like
Mhm.
emotions that
Yeah.
like he shall never
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Is like
yeah.
is like have like goofy like smiley expressions.
Yeah.
But like the reason they do that is because when he does smile, it's like it has to be like a big.
It means
moment.
something. Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
just like have Shadow just make whatever expression, like those mandates are there for a reason. Like,
Yeah.
they have a
Yeah.
vision, and like they want to save those moments for like something really special.
Yeah.
So like that's why those scenes hit so hard is because they have kind of those mandates where they're like Shadow is
Yeah,
basically
dude.
like he would never smile unless
It
like
was so
something
worth
like this
it.
happened.
It was so
But
worth
also
it.
too, and this is the part I love about the story too aspect of it all is like the more I look into it, the more I'm seeing under the surface where
Mhm.
what he says in that cutscene is Maria's wish from SA2, to give everyone a chance to be happy.
Yeah.
The interpretation for me is like, but this now also with his current interpretation is like, this also includes
Applies
himself
to
now
him.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for him also to
Yeah.
move on and be happy, you know, in a sense.
Yeah,
But yeah.
because I mean, the question goes, right? Because obviously this is a game where it takes place a long time ago. We've had a lot of time with characters. And
Yeah.
It's like, where does Shadow go next? Because I really thought this game, the one disappointment I was sad there was no post-credit scene to show like today and what Shadow is doing now. You know, some kind of hint or something. Because I wonder what is Shadow's role in the future? Is he just, you know, join and save the day? Because I don't think he has his own plot line anymore, to be honest. You know, and so
Yeah,
what do you
He was
do?
in Forces a little bit, but like not in any crazy
Yeah.
way. I mean, I guess there was episode Shadow, and he fights Infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
really
he's still.
tangible.
I mean, if anything, I guess the
I guess
only
in
way
a-
to rotate from Force is that he's still chilling with Rouge and Omega.
In
Yeah,
a way,
still
in a way, he's fighting because like that's kind of exactly like what Maria is saying, like fight to bring hope to humanity,
Yeah.
and like if in Forces, Eggman takes over the world, and he's like fighting with the Resistance, I guess. So
Yeah.
I guess he's trying to like keep his promise to Maria and that. But
Yeah.
other than that, like he doesn't have any like new revelation or like
Yeah.
anything new that happens to him really. So
Yeah. I guess it's free ball for
the
whatever
MIA
they
and
want to do.
Frontiers. So
Mm.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
great in another adventure if we
And another adventure,
If we-
yeah.
another adventure
some kind
where,
of
you know,
Sonic.
we
Some
see
kind-
Shadow and Sonic and
Yeah.
multiple characters on an island.
I mean, we've talked a lot about the game itself and everything, and this. So, what do we think going forward? Because obviously, you know, it's a different talk when we talk about just mainline Sonic, but what do we think going forward? Because I feel
All
like
right.
now, yeah, go for it. What are you thinking?
It's so funny, bro, because we always play this card, but man, like, I'm looking at everything, even all the way to update 3, right? We got they were playing with the idea of playable characters. I'm taking it about what
Yep.
Kishimoto said on Twitter is this is kind of like a test. Like he's kind of
Yeah.
using this as an opportunity to. He even said himself on Twitter, rather than waiting for the next game, I want to mess with this stuff
Do it now.
Yeah,
and kind of get an idea. So clearly, I think that right there confirms it. They want to have multiple playable characters for the next game.
yeah,
Right.
Um,
I mean, this entire expansion was someone other than Sonic, so
Yep.
like they tested it with an entire game or like an expansion
Yeah.
Yeah.
of a different character, and
Yeah,
and
and
it worked.
And
Like,
even
everyone
after
is
that
loving
too,
this
they
game.
even updated those characters due to feedback with
Mhm.
Knuckles died and such like that. So they even know like, okay, what we gotta avoid, what we gotta do. And now
Right.
with this game, with Shadow and his story being more rounded out now, like
Yeah.
his past is more rounded out. Now we're looking for the future. Like what is the future with Shadow? For me personally, man, if there was ever a time for another adventure game with multiple playable characters, it's now. It really is now. I know I sound like the stinkiest Sonic fan right now saying like, oh, Adventure 3, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even have to be Adventure 3, but like, genuinely with them bringing back the Chow, which is like, why would they do that? There's nothing
Yeah.
there. You don't get anything.
I was gonna
Why would
say
they-
that's
you know what I
another
mean?
aspect. Like if it's an adventure game, it needs the Chow Garden.
Yep.
And they are kind of like for the first time in a long time, they're kind of playing around with bringing them back. And I don't know, wasn't there some kind of rumor about like some Chow mobile game?
Yes,
or,
yeah, it
like,
seems
Yeah.
Chow mobile
Yeah.
games
Clicks
have-
or something, or just like some kind of mobile
Yeah.
game. Right. So going back to kind of what we were talking like at the beginning of this video with the Chow, like my crazy theory was, and I think we kind of wanted to
Mhm.
get back to this
Yeah.
like towards the end, is that like okay, they're bringing the Chow back in Generations. Like for what though? Like why would they make all these
Yeah.
models just for like to collect them? Like that's kind of like there's a lot of Chow and like
Yep.
they look really good and like they spend
Yeah.
a lot of time on those things. Obviously, like there's something else, right? Like there's
Yeah.
maybe some kind of Chow game, or maybe they're just going straight for Adventure 3, and maybe they just have the models there.
Yeah.
I don't
Adventure
know.
3, Angel
I mean,
Island, multiple
Here's the
bio,
thing.
multiple characters.
Here's the thing.
Brother, it sounds peak.
When I played beating this game, I think this is the first time I've ever thought this in like 15 years, right? Like after playing this, I was like, oh my god, if Adventure 3 is anything like we're good. Like I'm down for Adventure 3.
The confidence.
You know?
We
Yeah,
are
it was so confident.
Like they bought their confidence back in that,
Mm-hmm.
or our confidence in them. Because I think we've always been saying that, right? Like, don't pull the trigger on that yet.
Yeah.
Like
You
please
need to
God,
be-
don't even do
yeah.
that. But like
Yeah.
now that we've seen that they were able to do remasters in house and it's pretty damn good, and with the
You-
animations, with the
Yeah.
dialogue and everything, like, if they told me we're gonna be working on Adventure 3,
By all means.
I'm no longer as scared as I would have been.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I
I'd be
agree
hyped.
with that. At the same time, though, I also feel like they don't need Adventure 3. I feel
agree.
like they can do like they have been doing kind of their own thing with Frontiers and Shadow, and it's
Yeah.
progressing and it's working.
Oh
and
yeah.
like don't get me wrong. There's definitely elements from Adventure that I would love to see return, but it doesn't have to be an adventure game
Yeah.
to do that.
Exactly.
Like-
Exactly what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be called Adventure 3, but like
Right.
it could be like
Feeling of it, yeah.
essentially set up like an adventure game. Like, you'll have maybe your dark story
Right.
and your hero story,
Different
but like
perspectives on like
But
an
it still
overarching
plays-
story, multiple characters,
Yeah.
Chao Garden, fun levels. Like it could be
Yeah.
That's all
called
you
whatever
need.
it wants, and it can even do other things as well, like bring in new ideas to it and
Yeah.
make it its own formula and give it its own title and make that like the new spiritual successor to the Adventure series.
Yeah, no,
Sonic
they-
Angelic Islands, it's gonna be an amazing game.
By-
Literally, that's all you gotta do.
By all means, man, if those levels are like that, the open zones like that, like you do you, bro. Like I trust
Yeah.
you now. Like I came out of this game being like, damn, I know someone said this in my comments. I was like, damn, I beat this game and I didn't leave saying I'm hoping for this. It says I now have expectations, you know. Like I think that's how
Yeah.
I feel. It's like now I have expectations. I'm like, you guys made something that's fucking awesome, you know. Keep that shit up because like I
This
want
wasn't-
more of
yeah.
this.
Because it's not. This is. We always say like, oh, that was a step in the right direction, but it's like,
Yep.
no, that was legit just the right direction.
They raised the bar.
They did.
Not only is it like a step in like the bar is here and they're like taking a step towards it, like
Mhm.
they raised the bar.
Yeah.
For,
It's
And now
I think
they're
for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. It's
They're gonna pull another Sonic Generations and make like Lost World 2
Oh,
or
God.
something.
It's
Do
like
you remember when Generations came out
God.
and everyone's like, yes,
yes.
Sonic
No,
is back?
we got
it.
And, like,
Dude, I that's okay. I did want to bring that up because it really just feels like, oh yeah, we really went back to 2011 with kind of the
Yeah,
quality
dude.
of how Sonic was at that time. Because at the time, it was right after Unleashed. The levels still looked amazing graphically, and it's like, wow, the future of Sonic looks bright. But then they pulled, the Lost World thing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's almost like we really are in a good time where it's like
Yeah.
it's like reverse time. It's like, let's try to go the other route now. Let's see what happens if we continued this route and invested in
oh
this.
god.
I'm just shocked. Like I finished this and I literally said this when I was on credits. I was like, I can't believe Sonic Team made this. Like I genuinely could not believe it. Cause like no bug, no weird glitch, no weird gimmick that everyone hates, no like glaring problem, like genuinely
catch.
there's no catch. It's
Yeah.
like pure peak, pure like, and even just I was saying this like it's not even just that thing because sometimes I'll talk to people, right, and I'll be like, oh, this is like Sonic, these are specifically Sonic the level designs that are great for Sonic, right? But I genuinely think as a platformer, this is like the level design is awesome. You know, if anybody just likes platformers, I felt like the level design here is genuinely fun because I was watching Aru play and she's not like she hates Sonic. She hates playing those games. Like I was seeing her play the levels and it came naturally. You know, and we're seeing again people that aren't Sonic people play the game, right? And it's coming to them pretty naturally what to do. I feel like the game does a very good job of just being a great platformer. And I still think it's still a Sonic game, you know, so when I see people that don't know what to do, they still get frustrated, right? They get frustrated because they're like, I'm doing something wrong here. Because they want to go fast and they want to play well, but it just felt like it's so well designed, man. Like all the branching paths, like it's crazy how the levels have so many branching paths that like I'm still seeing online that I'm still discovering and that like just exist for fun. You know, some of them lead to different areas. Some of them are just, hey, this one's cooler to go through. Like that's all I want, man. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I think I was having a conversation with one of my friends. We were like playing through Shadow, and we were just talking about like, man, like I'm so glad the 2010s are over. Like people are just like constantly like giving Sonic bad reviews, and like a lot of it was because they like sucked. And we're like, well, why is that? Well, it's because like a lot of Sonic games will like punish you for playing bad. So not only are you playing bad, but you get punished for it. So like it's like twofold. You get sent to the lower path, like the stinky lower path, where you have to like hold a lever to like have like a slow moving platform. Like you get punished. It's like I just want to go fast. So yeah, like Shadow does a really good job of being intuitive. So like it's harder to get on the lower path, and they make it.
And the lower paths are fun. Like I think every path
Right,
has
and
some
they make
dynamic.
I think none of the lower paths are too punishing. The kind of mid paths are like nice and fun, and then like the higher paths. And like not only just like a higher path, but like higher paths, plural, because there's just so many different ways you can go. I think like all of them are like they're pretty fun.
Yeah.
Whoever was in charge of the level design did like a fantastic
Unbelievable job. They genuinely they knew what they were doing. Like that was
They did their homework too.
Yeah.
They did their homework.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I just knew just from Rail Canyon at the end of Royal Canyon, you could land on that red building. You could do that in the original Heroes,
Yeah.
but it
That's
wasn't. You
cool.
weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
But it was a solid object. You could land on
You get a
it.
collectible
So they
for
literally
it
did their
too.
homework.
So they
Oh,
know.
Yeah, and they put a collectible
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awesome,
Exactly.
man. And yeah, no, even shout out to them. Just even like collectibles, like the fact that the main levels have 3 collectibles, even the side challenges each have 3 collectibles. Like it, and the open zones, like it felt that fun sort of just 3D platformer feeling of just getting stuff, getting stuff.
Right. Love
I would have. I still think they need to figure this out, where I need like an in-game reward for getting stuff. Like you can't just keep giving
Yes,
me side
That,
stuff. Like,
that Orbot and Cubot thing, I spent 2 hours looking for these
Even-
I'm
bolts.
trying to think of like previous Sonic games that maybe did that good. And like I know Adventure 2, like you got Green Hill. You got a whole
Yeah.
other level if
Yeah.
you got like what, S ranks or all the emblems, I think.
it's all the emblems, yeah.
All the emblems, and then Sonic Adventure you get like Metal Sonic or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
you
get
get
basically like a
something like
reskin
that.
of Sonic,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just
Some
like
kind of like
costumes,
little level
yeah.
like Easter egg or costume or something. just-
Something, because Mario games I think
Cheesy
still
like
do
that.
that better. Where like you when you do the secret exit or beat a level, like you get a secret level, you know, secret world, secret
One
something.
of my favorite things that like I think Mario 3D World
Mm-hmm.
is like one of my favorite Mario games ever,
Yeah,
and it has the like what is it called, like the
Victory Road. Yeah, Victory Road. Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah.
It's just like a balls to the wall
Mhm.
hard ass level. It is so hard
Yep.
and it's really long, and it's just like your reward for kind of like getting everything.
Yeah,
And it's just like an extra challenge, and it's
Yeah.
like the hardest thing in the game, and it like beating it is super rewarding, and in of itself
Yeah.
it is rewarding.
exactly.
So something like that, just some kind of like Kaizo ass
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
Kaizo Mario ass
Yeah.
level, something super
I
hard
love
and
that,
challenging
man.
that like puts it uses, it's like just a gauntlet level
Yep,
that uses all of the abilities
I love that.
and is super punishing. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, just they need to fix, because Frontiers had this issue too. Like, I'm not psychopathic enough to do it, but people have done it where you, if you get all the memory tokens on every island, people do that, and you get like just a little dumb crown on
Burger
top.
King crown.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Burger
it's
King
like,
crown.
that's not-
I'm like,
that's
if
nothing.
they gave me the cape and the crown, like from that artwork they always do for his birthday, I would be like, fuck yeah. You know, but like I feel like
Yeah.
they need to figure out rewards, because as these games are getting more fun to play and you're getting essay and stuff, like just give me like costumes. Like I feel like platformers having costumes is like the easiest W, you know, especially because now they're doing them. Like give me classic SA2 Shadow skin, you know, give him his battle skin, give him the Rider's costume, give him a Black Knight costume, like just stuff like that, like that I don't think would have taken that much time and just would have made someone feel cool for it. But yeah, no, I think that's everything. I think we've all left this game, which is so nice, leaving this game just fully happy. Yeah, it's,
Satisfied and happy.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so good, man.
Very
It's so good.
satisfying. I've never been more excited for the future of Sonic.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
gen-
I'm with you, man. Yeah, like I feel like the Year of Shadow is gonna end up being like one of the like genuine best things that's ever happened to it, because everything.
It's gonna be iconic.
It is.
It's not
It
even
really
over
is.
yet.
We're
It's
gonna
not even-
we're gonna people are gonna make like video essays 10 years from now or like 20
Yep.
years from now, explaining like
the Year of Shadow.
the comeback of Shadow and the
Yep.
Year of Shadow and like how successful it was for Sega and
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
hopefully some of the cool stuff it allows them to do in the future because of its
Yeah.
success.
Who is the
We're living through
number
history
one-
right now.
We are. We really are. Who is your character that you want to see get the Shadow achievement? Because I don't think now I'm realistic. I don't think there are other Sonic characters that can carry a year. Right, I think it's a very rare thing
Right.
where like Shadow is as popular as the main character, but even just in terms of an expansion or extra content or like something like, what is the character you really think deserves it and you want to see get the spotlight?
For me, I kind of mentioned it before, but I am really fascinated with all of the Echidna tribe lore.
Okay.
So I think having
Flashback.
a focus on Knuckles
Mhm.
and his like lineage and his tribe and his like homeland of Angel Island,
Yeah.
going more into that would be so cool.
Okay.
That would basically like, other than Project Shadow, like
Mhm.
the Echidna tribe lore and chaos and all that stuff, because we still are a little bit confused about chaos, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
how did he come to be? He's an ancient, but he
Yeah.
was like a mutated Chow. So like, what's the link between the ancients and the Chow? The
Yeah.
Angel Island is in that formula somewhere.
Yeah.
So like, that's definitely something from Frontiers that they left open for
Yeah.
interpretation, that they could answer in some kind of Knuckles related, Echidna tribe related lore.
Yeah.
That they would
Yeah.
add in some kind of like Knuckles focused game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like a lot of people online have been saying like I was gonna say like Knuckles is a really good one. I know in terms of like Silver obviously is like
Yeah.
something that I hear a lot online, but I won't lie, like I don't think he could carry a Euro. I genuinely don't.
Well, no, but that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
not sure
I-
what
I'm-
you would be able to do with him.
I'm not even
I
saying
guess it
a
would have
year
to
of.
be. It would have to be the only thing you would be able to do with him, because now that like his future is good and like nothing really happens there,
Mhm.
I do think if you were to do Silver, something you would maybe be able to explore is his like past before
Yes.
he meets
That's what
Mephiles,
people
and
were
like his
saying
struggle
online.
to survive like the crazy destroyed future with Blaze. I
Dude, I would love
basically
that.
like
Literally a
it's
future
basically
Trunks.
it's exactly, it's like the future Trunks arc. Basically, Sam, did you watch the do you ever end up watching the History of Trunks movie? With
Not yet, no.
Oh,
not
you-
yet.
Future
you didn't
Gohan,
see
you
a
need to
future
do
Gohan?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that is basically the vibe I would
Yep.
want from that game.
100%.
It's like kind of like a little bit before the world completely goes to shit, and
Mm.
it's basically like, because doesn't it happen because Sonic dies? So Sonic dies, and then
Yes.
like Iblis takes
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
It's basically Goku. Like Goku has his like heart disease
Heart-
thing.
yeah.
He dies, and then like the androids come, and like no one is prepared to take them. So
Yeah.
like slowly the world just like goes to shit, and like that's basically exactly what Silver's story would be.
Yeah.
And
I
that would be
think-
pretty cool.
I'm with you, man. Like a Silver prequel showing the destruction of the future would be so sick. I feel like they could even, because obviously his whole thing is the telekinesis. I feel like you could create some cool platforming stuff now that they actually know what they're doing.
His
Yeah.
gameplay was like too ambitious for the technology at the time.
Exactly.
For sure, like I mean, like you can have like 50 billion objects and give them like physics nowadays, and like
Yeah.
you played Astrobot, right, Fidel? Where
Yes.
like there's like
The
little like
millions.
things, and you can like hit them, and they just
Yeah.
fly everywhere, and they all
Yeah,
have
yeah,
physics and bounce around.
Mhm.
Like Silver would be totally doable and like probably really easy to improve on. Because
Exactly.
I remember like sometimes you would pick up like 5 objects, and the game's like, whoa, that's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah,
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 calm
yeah.
down there. We're
Yeah,
gonna like
that's it.
slow the
Yeah.
game by like
I
half
think-
the
I think-
speed.
Project Shadow shows a good example of like how you can make Silver fun.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they could even go further than that. Yeah, genuinely. So in terms of like gameplay, that was what I was actually gonna say. Like in terms of pure gameplay, though, I do see a lot like Silver could probably bring to the table in the future.
He's fun.
So I hope to see him playable again in the future with like revamped like controls and like
Yeah.
like a better game. Stuff.
I
But yeah,
remember
mean,
my mind was blown as a kid when I played Sonic 06, like being able to levitate stuff and like have
Yes.
it like throw it at the opponent. Like that's
Yeah.
so cool. They can definitely outdo that technology now, like
Yeah.
yeah.
tenfold.
100%.
And speaking of which, too, speaking of like the whole technological aspect of these games, to bring it back to Shadow real quick, is like the seamless transitions they were doing in the game
Oh yeah.
reminded me of like Ratchet and Clank Rift
was
Apart. Like,
unbelievable.
the way it was just,
Yeah.
like it's so cool,
Immediate.
and to see them playing with that again, it really is just like we're back to like unleashed
Yeah.
levels of like Sonic
'Cause-
being technologically at the like
Mm.
where we should be.
Because those intros to the Doom thing are effectively a loading screen for the level, but it's an incredible one.
Yeah.
Like it's like Shadow's doing flips, jumping on a platform, sliding, starting in, and it just looks
Yep.
so cool. You know, it's better than shimmying through a wall for the loading screens in a lot of
Right.
cases. But I think I'm with you. I think Silver would be the one. I guess my other option would be, again, like I said, I don't think anyone can have a year of, but I was thinking game wise, I still would love if they made a new 2D modern Sonic game. I would love Blaze to have the spotlight again. Just bring it back to her. That way you get with the type of levels they're doing now. It'd be so cool to see what they do with her. But yeah, man, no, I'm really excited. We still have a massive movie coming up. We had Dark Beginnings, which was amazing, like crazy marketing all year, genuinely. And I'm so happy of where we're at, and we're about to, I think things are genuinely about to explode more. I really believe that. Like movie 3 is about to be massive. And we found that the game sold 1 million in less than a day, which is huge.
Yeah.
Frontier sold 2.5 million in a month. So I think this is gonna be on a high sales trajectory, because we're gonna have Black Friday sales, and then movie sales are gonna like up it.
Yeah.
So we're looking,
And the holiday, right?
yeah.
Right. Christmas.
I'm very curious to see how much it's gonna end up selling Lifetime. It might. I wonder if it'll outsell Frontiers. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Let us know, of course, in the comment section below, what do you love about this game. Let us know what else you would like to see, and of course, we'll probably come back for the movie / end of year Sonic discussion, where we talk about, you know, the year round, the next year. So it'll be great. All right, so boys, give yourselves a little plug. We're gonna actually be together in about 2 weeks for Sonic Expo. We're doing panel stuff, just hanging out. So hopefully you'll get some content from us there. But of course, give yourselves your plugs. Go, Chowmix, you can start it.
Yeah, find me on my YouTube channel, Chowmix. I'm working on a big Project Shadow lore update video,
Oh, I
because
can't
I'm
wait.
the Project Shadow lore guy.
Yes, sir.
Lots of new lore, lots of new details. Really well done too. So it's just me gushing over it and kind of just like explaining how it fills in the blanks and everything. So that's going to be released hopefully within the next few days.
Okay, perfect.
I'm working on it pretty hard, so look
Perfect.
out for that one. It's going to be a pretty big one.
Sick. Sam.
My name is Sam Procrastinates. You guys, it's just been incredible to talk about Shadow and to collaborate with Fidel and Ryan here. It's been amazing. And, you know, my channel is just a great place for Sonic fans. Right now, working on my Sonic X Shadow review. It's looking to be like 45 so minutes. So stop by, check out the review if you enjoyed.
Perfect. All right, guys, thank you all for watching. Love you. And of course, I'll see you all next time. Peace out.